Afadhali mzee ambaye ni mtulivu, ambaye hana haja ya kujaza mifuko yake, ambaye atachunga masilahi ya watu yake, badala ya mdomo tamtamu 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 tamtamu. Lakini akiingia ni wale wa kufanya moja yako, nusu ya mwananchi, mbili yako na tano yangu. Na mnawajua nyinyi mna.
Kutafuta uongozi kwa kutumia dini au kutumia kabila unagawa watu. Kazi ya uongozi ni kujenga watu wawe kitu kimoja.
The 2.2 billion has been spent in the office of the president and State House between July and September. If you do that calculation, it means that we spend in that office 23 million per day and 1 million per hour. That cannot be sustainable.
Sisi vile sio wote ambao wanataka ugomvi kwa sababu ya ugomvi.
Niwaambia nyinyi ni wajinga mkimfuata Ruto. Mkadhani tunawadanganya.
Jeti ya Ruto. Hii maisha ya Ruto ni stress na ni stress.
Mungu, wewe umetukosea.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad you're watching. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk, open forum political discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, today, Ruto is at it again, this time round blaming propaganda and fake news for his dropped popularity and losing favor with Kenyans. Now he says it's because of the propaganda and fake news campaign. My question for William Ruto this night is one. You mean to tell me that those people who are dying for failing to get medical attention due to the confusion of NHF and SHA is fake news? You want to tell Kenyans that the abductions and disappearance of family members and dear ones is fake news? You still want to insist that the plight of Kenyans not being able to access jobs, not being able to access quality education, not being able to get a good healthcare is fake news? Well, somebody needs to wake up William Ruto from his slumber when he thinks that whatever he thinks is what is right. I call upon you to be on the forefront to let him realize that Kenyans are not logs of wood that have no feelings and have no perception and understanding of what is prevailing. the level of corruption, negligence, and of course, oppression by the administration against the masses cannot be ignored. And so if he thinks it is fake news, well, we need to let him know the source of his credible news that he want to choose to believe about Kenyans. Well, there's another new phenomena happening right now. It appears that the walls of the impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is working out a magic of galvanizing and uniting Mount Kenya. Looking on the rally that went down today, it appears that the mountain has resolved. No more Ruto for the mountain. Well, let's look at it extensively, even as we look at other stories. Ladies and gentlemen, be on the forefront to be an extension of what we are doing right here, right where you are, by sharing the link widely and get more people to join. Please don't watch the show alone and don't spectate. Please be fully participant into making sure that this truth is reaching to as many as possible. I want to salute and appreciate every one of you. Let's be on the forefront to do what is just for this great country, and of course, fix what has gone wrong with our country in ensuring that everything falls in place. Msimamo, karibu kwa show. Esther Stoll, karibu kwa show. Freedom na kuona, karibu kwa show. Green, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Kuna Philbert Burudi, karibu kwa show. William Adilo, welcome to the show. Tunim Hamud 77, our PS, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Freedom says Zakayo has forcefully deducted from companies' money for Chief Shah, and now the companies have started deducting the money from Kenyans. NHF was 1,500, Chief Shah is 9,000. A fact, Kenyans are a fact, Kenyans are Ruto slaves. Haya ni tuangalie kwa hilo. Julius Mwongela, karibu kwa show. Asante sana na kuona. Nani mwingine? MNA, welcome to the show. Talia Bless, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Nani James Mtizo, thank you for being here. Anasema pamoja. Naomba tumakinike kukaribishana. Link ya kutumia kuingia studio nishaweka kwa comment section. Let's be on the forefront to be here so that we can weigh on these matters openly and clearly for nobody to mistake what is happening, in spite of the twistedness of William Ruto that he wants to twist the country alongside. Well, as we start this conversation, we need you to ensure that you are doing what you must do. Sound Candy Talk, 36 people. Sound Candy Talk Live, 22 people. Facebook, we are on Kibali Lounge. There is yet one to join. TikTok, 25. Please, let's keep moving. Share the live, like the video, give us a thumbs up, and let's do what we must do to help this country pick up and, of course, be fully recovered. I want to salute every one of you. I thank God that we are all here and ready to engage. I can see Kip, I can see msimamo. Wengine na wasubiri, tafadhali tuwai mapema ili tumalize kwa wakati pia kwa pamoja. Well, this is it. Fake news or really news? What is this about fake news? You remember what William Ruto said on CNN about the Gen Z and the revolution and, of course, the running down the parliament. He said about the deaths and the abductions and the disappearance of those people that family members are looking for. He said it was fake news. So we are a country of fake news, propaganda, including our very existence is fake. Our hunger is fake. Our failure to get medical care is fake. Our falling apart education system is fake. William Ruto is fake. You will help me understand that. Let me just play that video before keep can come in and share on this fake moment in our fake country in a fake way.
I ask you, as forest officers and managers, as you join the KFS fraternity, believe in yourselves, believe in what you do, and believe in your country. All of us, as the people of Kenya, it is time that we believed in this great country God has given us. It is time that we stopped the negativity. It is time that we stopped believing in the fake news and in the propaganda that is hurting our nation. Because looking at the Kenya Forest Service in the last 2 years, the transformation is phenomenal. What has been achieved in the last 2 years, reducing illegal logging and forest criminal activity by 90%, is something we should be proud of. The fact that Kenya Forest Service now can raise its own resources because of the transformation and because of the reforms that have been undertaken is something we should celebrate. That is not just happening in the Kenya Forest Service. It is happening in the Kenya Wildlife Service. It is happening in the National Youth Service. It is happening in all our other services. These are the positive elements that make Kenya stand out, and that is why we have earned respect globally. Asanteni sana kwa wazazi, asanteni sana kwa kufika ili tusherehekee sherehe hii ya vijana hawa ambao leo watatoka hapa waende wasimamie mambo ya mazingira katika taifa letu la Kenya. Na kama vile waziri amesema, tuko na mpango mkubwa ambayo imeanza sasa. Vijana 10,000 tayari wamejumuishwa katika mpango wa Climate Works.
Mambo ni kama hayo, wapenzi watazamaji, mahala popote mlipo, tujumuike pamoja tunapoangazia fake news propaganda affecting Ruto's popularity. Kip, tuambie huyu kijana ni wenu?
We turudishie na bendera. This guy, he's such a liar. When you hear him say anything, ukishaisikia Ruto akisema kitu yote, jua he has done something. So kuna mali forest inaanza kukatwakatwa somewhere. Kuna mandovu sahii hatutapata, ameua. So unajua mnasemanga Gachagua is the most truthful. Ruto does truth reverse. I hope you guys understand. Anasema uongo lakini ni ukweli. Anafanya opposite. So what we did this yesterday, Bernard, if you remember, we said it very, very, very clearly yesterday that there is panic in the mountain. Kuna panic. And I told him, I told the viewers yesterday that you cannot divide the mountain. Hata ukifanya nini. The MPs and senators who voted against Gachagua are regretting, my friend. And I said that yesterday. And this assistant Jesus is panicking because his church grounds are going to be no more. Kwa sababu hakujangi Eldoret, hakujangi huku kwetu, hakujangi Bomet. Yetu ni kukimbia tu Central na kwenda kwa makanisa. Now it looks like the ground is becoming hostile. He thought that he was going to bribe the mountain by trying to split the east from the west. And even the west is a bit split, but they have chosen this guy. No matter how much tunaweza chukia what happened, the mountain had said Gachagua ndio mnatuletea na ni wetu. And then you decide from a promise you had given, even after stealing election, you promised that you're going to keep this man. And then remember, his whole campaign was about Uhuru kumwonea one of their sons. Wakasema kwamba huyu mtu ananionea. Uhuru, don't kill my children, remember that? Uhuru, leave me alone. It is merely 2 years of their stolen election that is getting rid of this guy. Uhuru alikaa na huyu mtu 10 years. 4 of those years alikuwa akikimbia around the country akitukana, akituma akina Ichungu, akituma hata huyu mjinga huyu sasa Rigathi Gachagua kumtukana. So I did say this yesterday. And this man is panicking because with the hostile mountain, ilianza tu hiyo. Tuliona hivyo siku ya Moi. And I keep saying it. This guy has read Moi's book, but he's moving too fast on that book. Moi took 14 years to perfect being a dictator. Museveni the same. Settle Sheki. The other guy from Rwanda, Kagame. This dictatorship takes time. And to be a dictator, you have to start as a darling of the people. Putin was a darling of the people. If you don't get it. These people are all the Hitler of all the worst people. I'll mention it, but it's true. Was a darling of the people. Idi Amin was also a darling of the people until he became a monster. But this guy starts with being a monster less than a year. Wacha 2 years. Less than a year amekuwa shetani kabisa. So ataendelea kuwika fake news because the public cannot tolerate him. Hata mukieka kwa news, TikTok will tell him he's the monster. The youth will say he's bad. Hata wazee watasema mbaya. Like anything, I think akifungua gazeti tu hivi negative. Let me just tell you the truth. Siku hizi kila kitu ni negative. Freedom, ati Moi was not heartless. If you knew Nyayo House, ungejua. Those guys who are old enough to know about Nyayo House, you'll know Moi was not a saint. Can we stop saying that just because we are in these terms, we forget about the old days? Old days were bad, my friend. To speak Moi's name, people were scared back in the day. Just let us not forget that. Kutamsha something negative about Moi, unaingia kwa 504. People used to whisper, my friend. Just to finish off, fake news, just like your fake lies, are real news. People cannot hide how they're feeling. There's only so much the newspapers, the nations can hide about people's discontent about Schiff, house levy. You can't paint up. We always say that wezi paka nguruwe lipstick and it makes it good. No matter how much, hata ukileta spin doctor yoyote, you cannot tell me NHIF is better than Schiff. And NHIF was not even the best, by the way. But afadhali ilikuwa inasaidia some people, you know. So he can sing fake news, he can sing all those things, but all in all, we know it's the truth. And now the mountain is turning against him. ODM is playing tricks on him. They also need some revenge against him. Kwani hao si binadamu? Watamteka nyara vizuri sana. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kipril. We appreciate that. Good start indeed.
Mwambie Jerry akunywe chai.
The mountain cannot be divided, and I think their unity is more in pain than in celebrations, and so it appears William Ruto missed that class of understanding that the more you touch the mountain, the worse things become for you. Probably he will learn when it's too late. All in all, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Please, to Karibishan, 86 people viewing. Let's get to our usual numbers. And of course, ensure you're also participating into the poll question. We are asking, do you believe Ruto's claims that propaganda and fake news is what is putting him against the Kenyan people? Your yes or no response on Sound Country Talk Live and Sound Country Talk YouTube channels. Please, before you cast your vote, make sure that you give our videos a thumbs up. It's important, even if you don't believe in it, just believe us when we tell you, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Let's now fumbo mfumbie mjinga mwerevu atalifumbua. Msimamo, hali vipi? Msimamo upo ama umenyakuliwa?
Nipo.
Haya, karibu.
Unanipata?
Ndio hivyo. Hebu tuambie
Nipo.
Ruto ndio mwenye chonga anayechekelea kengeza wengine.
Tunashangaa mimi. Lakini wajua akulae yumo bindoni tu mwako, wala usimtafute mbali. Siku zote akulae yuko bindoni mwako haswa, yaani ukitembea unaye. So Ruto anayemla yumo ndani ya mfuko wake, anatembea naye. Lakini kila ilivyo binadamu naye mwambie anaenda, usimwambie anaenda, mwambie anarudi, kwa sababu hata ukimwambia wakati anaenda lazima alione kwanza alafu ndo arudi aulize. Ndivyo naona mlima, kwa sababu ulikuwa umeonywa vya kutosha, lakini kila ilivyo sikio la kufa lisikii dawa. Na kama nilivyotangulia kusema kwamba mwanadamu siku zote mwambie akirudi, usimwambie wakati anaenda, kwa sababu yani lazima kama ameamua. So wangefanya maamuzi haya mapema, tungekuwa tushamazana hivi vitimbi. Lakini sasa wengi wao ndo wameadaika kidini, jamaa kaingia mzima. Na kwa sababu ya upumbavu, kwa unajua, mtanisamehe kwa kutumia hiyo lugha, lakini naweza nikasema kwa kiasi fulani hivi, gwiji mwenye kulisakata rumba ama kulisakata ngoma vizuri anajua ni saa ngapi kwa kuondoka stage. Lakini kwa yule ambaye hajui kama mimi msimamo, basi nitasakata, mimi nitakesha mpaka kesho saa 12 ngoma ikifungwa ndo mimi nenda zangu, na nikidhania kwamba ndo nimecheza, ndo nimekuwa kwanza, lakini kumbe kulikuwa na wengine wamecheza poa na wameenda kwa wakati wao. Sasa huyu amemaliza, kwa sababu kama ni parliament alikapcha, kama judiciary alikapcha, sasa ananyemelea hapo kwa katiba. Lakini pia vile kajinyelea, kwa sababu unaweza sema kajinyelea mwenye akidhania labda yaozesha unyugwe uliomkamata mguu, kumbe ndo yauzidisha kuweka mbichi na unamkaza zaidi. Maana asilaumu kwamba ni propaganda, atina uongo na uvumi, lakini serikali yake iko sawa. Ni jambo ambalo mimi linanitamausha kama msimamo, na ndio maana nasema kwa kweli ndugu yangu anajikanga mwenyewe kwa mafuta yake. Lugha ashamaliza, kila mipango ashamaliza, kila mbinu. Maana uongo una mwisho, na uongo sawia tu na kapu ambayo ina tundu chini. So unajaza, unaona labda uongo umejaa, ukinyanyua hiyo kapu uongo wote unabaki chini, lakini kapu ya ukweli huwa mara nyingi imefunga chini, na ikija hata wana haja kwamba uangalie ati imejaa, unaona tayari, maana ukweli lazima unauona tu. So ameshamaliza, kimtazamo wangu kama msimamo, ameshamaliza kila mbinu ambayo Mkenya amembebesha, na amesahau sasa. Ni tofauti na wakati wa Moi. Wakati wa Moi hakukuwa na uhuru wa kujieleza, vyombo vya habari vilikuwa hafifu. Sasa hivi jamba hapo nalipata kwa TikTok. So ni wapi kwa kujificha? Na mwisho kakaribisha jirani zake waliokuwa na machungu tangia awali. Sasa ukishampisha nyumba mgeni unategemea nini? So for real, hivyo ndivyo ilivyo hata kwa vitabu vya Mungu Bernard, kwamba lililofungwa litekwa wazi, na pia jina la Mungu halitaji ovyo ovyo tu pasipokuwa na sababu ya maana. So wacha jamaa wangu amalize muda wake, maana sidhani kama pia atamaza hatamu hii ya uongozi. Ombi la msimamo, maana kama mlima ushaanza kuamka kiasi hicho, tuna matumaini mengine. Nitachia hapo kwanza.
Okay, asante msimamo. Kama mlima ushaanza kufanyaje? Haya mabibi na mabwana, tunawashukuru kila mmoja. Tafadhali tumakinike kukaribishana ili unyime yeyote uhondo huu ambao unaendelea hapa Sound Candid Talk, tunapochambua siasa zetu, maisha yetu na kutetea nchi yetu isije ikaangamia mikononi mwa uongozi mbaya wa William Ruto na genge lake. Haya, karibisha mtu 112 people. Let's keep going in inviting more and participate fully. We must get things working the right way. Thank you. Njiru, how are you?
Yes, how are you Bernard? Habari?
Niko salama, hali vipi?
Yeah, niko salama. Sijui unanitakiaje leo?
No, tarubini ya mlima.
Mlima hauna shida. I will tell you that categorically. As somebody who comes from the mountain, the mountain has no problem. Ni vile tu unajua kwa hesabu kuna kitu tunaitanga the point of origin. Unajua ukichora graph ya x na y kuna kuanga na ile point of origin pale. So mlima ilikuwa imesonga kidogo from the point of origin, sasa imetereza back to the original point. And some of us who believe in sane politics, we are just welcoming our fellow brothers who had drifted sababu ya yale mapochopocho walikuwa wanaona na huko hinje. So what is happening, for information, Lanjile wale watu walikuwa wamendanganyika sana. Wale watu ambao walikuwa wanaambiwa Ruto ako na mapochopocho na wakakimbia, kama wale wana wapotovu, yule mwana mpotovu, I mean the prodigal son, yule ambaye alienda na huko nje akapotea na huko, alafu sasa ile wakati anarudi akiwa hana nguo, akiwa ameishiwa kabisa, sasa ni kukaribishwa na kuchinjiwa. So hiyo vitu yote unaona Duberi ni katika hali ya kuchinjia wale walikuwa wamepotea. So they are just coming home wakiwa wameumizwa, hawana nguo na vidoda na vilema na mabadage. Sasa bana, ile kitu tunajaribu kufanya saa hii ni kuwapiga masaji waweze kuamuka tena. Wengine wako na maclutches wako na maclutches juu ya vile wameumizwa na huko nje. Walikuwa wameambiwa watavukishwa na merikabu, ile ng'ambo, alafu sasa na wakaambiwa hii merikabu tunawavukisha nayo hamulipii. Sasa mwenye merikabu kuwafikisha katikati, mwenye merikabu sasa akawaambia ni ulipe ama ni kurushe kwa maji. Sasa ikifika hiyo level, sasa mnaanzia kujiorganize, mnaanzia kuona huyu dereva wa merikabu tujipange, ikuwe sasa yeye ndiye tutamrusha kwa maji ama ni sisi tutarushwa kwa maji. So ni katika hali ya kujipanga ili sasa dereva wa merikabu sasa ashikaniwe arushwe kwa maji, sababu sasa naye dereva wa merikabu ameamua kurusha abiria kwa maji, so anapangiwa because the multitude cannot allow to be thrown into the water. Sasa ni wajipange. And you know, Bernard, this is what happens in human psychology. When humans have no visible threat, they are usually very arrogant. Hilo wakati binadamu haoni kama kuna kitu inatishia maisha yake, is like a rich man, kama yule ambaye alikuwa anasema sasa naweza keti na nikule sasa mambo yangu. So when there is that level of satiability, human beings don't decide. Hata ukijaribu kumwambia anything namwambia wacha kuniletea ujinga hapa. Ukienda ile pande ya mlima anything political unasikia mtu akiuliza, hey bro hebu keti hapa tu okay, like it becomes a sweet story which people want to. So I'm happy of the transition which has been happening in the mountain, and that transition is not us, sio sisi, ni our brothers who walikuwa wameitiwa, wale our brothers ambao walikuwa naambiwa State House itakuanga inafunguliwa ni wanakula mchele na nyama. So those are our brothers who are able to travel to the State House kukula mchele na nyama. So we are re-educating them. And in fact, Bernard, our community is undergoing evolution. Tuko mbele yenu sasa Waluya. Sababu sisi we are now a little notch higher. Sisi tushapigwa na Maret. Tushapigwa hapa kichwa. So na tunajua tumepigwa na nani. So sisi tumerebuka sana hata kualiko nyinyi bana. Sasa but it is unfortunate sababu unajua binadamu anywhere in the world. Hata ukiambiwa usipitie hii barabara. Ukiambiwa usipitie hii barabara kuna mtu alinyongewa hapo. Hakuna situone huyo mtu alinyongwa. Sababu sasa naona bana wengine wetu pia ni kama ati wanataka kuona watu wa mlima waliumizwa wapi, ni kama waamini. Kuna watu wengine waamini watu wa mlima waligongewa kichwa wapi. Ati wanataka kuona hiyo location. Bana dati kuna jamii wanasema tunataka kuoneshwa hapo waligongewa. Hatuwezi amini waligongwa aje. So, but I hope even other communities will learn from the painful lesson of Mount Kenya region. Sababu hawana nguo saa hii, ni ile sasa inabidi uketi chini ufunzwe na uambiwe na hakuna kukata. So we are now very connected, and there is a 360-degree political turnaround which has happened, which is keeping on happening in our community. Na tumeshikana sana, by the way, Bernard, I can tell you. I can confirm to you into finality. In Mount Kenya region, as I finish now, so that other people can come. In Mount Kenya region, Ruto ako na 0. Right now as we speak. Ako na 0. Hana chake huko. So, mambo yake huko ishaisha sasa. Forget about now hata wale watu walikuwa wanatutusi wakisema sijui hawa sijui nini. Now we have been connected by the problem. Saa zingine shida ni mzuri. And in fact, the evolution which has happened in the Mount Kenya region, I'm very happy for it. Because now sasa sisi tuko na ulinzi ya miaka 100 inakuja. Bana, we are now that powerful. Uwezi jua hii maneno, but kete na sisi tutakwambia now sisi.
Bwana Njiru, you are heaping on us huge lumps we can't swallow. What is this that you had that you've been snatched and now has exposed you people to be naked, and now you are still strong 100 years? And I mean, why are you taking us in two different places at the same time?
No, unajua after umetolewa nguo na uoneshwe barabara ya kuvalia tena, you defend that clothes to eternity. That is what I mean. So what I mean is that Mount Kenya region as a whole will never go in that cycle which they have been taken by Ruto again. I can tell you for free, a cycle whereby they are big-headed, wanasema sisi tunaweza jiongoza. That cycle is now done. Now we are actually confining ourselves closely to leadership. Closely to leadership. It is a very painful lesson. Unfortunately, we had to lose everything, but now it's a lesson which will take us to 100 years. That is what I'm saying. Sio kitu atitarudi tena. Yule atakuwa anataka kurudi Misri, as we always say in the biblical terms. Whoever will be wanting to return back to Egypt, atakuanga anaenda peke yake. There will be no any other time in the human history that people from Mount Kenya will go that turn around again. That is why unaona hata Kindiki, no one is listening to him. I have talked with several people, including who come from the deep side of Tharaka. Hata wanauliza huyo Kindiki gani? Because people have already washajua what was intended to them. Already people have seen that Mr. Ruto alikuwa ameamua kutumaliza sawasawa. And now people are united. Now what is happening, as I finish, Bernard, we are now waiting for other communities. We combine with them. We don't know what is going to happen. For us, tunangojea sasa Ruto attack other communities if he want. But in Mount Kenya region, we have already flushed him out. Kama choo. He is now down the drain. Ako kwa siwa na uko sasa. Anaenda na uko sasa kuokotwa na uko. So we are now open for clean association. Symbiotic association. Sio hii association ya Ruto ya kujifanya na kuumiza watu, whereby he is using a whole community as a collateral damage for his own issues. We are now past that. We are now waiting for equal communities which want good things for Kenya. And we are now open and we will change Kenya as a whole. Thank you.
Okay. Let's rest there, but I have a lot of questions on the same because it appears your lesson has not reached home. You lost ground by galvanizing around Ruto, in my opinion. And now, instead of you going home and setting your house in order, you are also coming together to galvanize around Kalonzo. So, are you not repeating the same thing? When you've been hit out there, wanasema ng'ombe akivunjika guu malishoni urudi zizini. Ninyi badala mrudi zizini, mnarudi kwa jirani tena, mwanze kufanya massage mkiwa kwa jirani. Ingieni zizini kwanza, huko ndio mtoe nguo vizuri, mkachomwe vizuri, ndio mpone. Lakini tutazungumza kwa kina. Wacha nimlete Mama Mary mbio.
Yeah, Bernard, I was excusing myself a bit, but anyway, you have called me. Let me do 1, 2, just a small thing. How are you, everybody? Keep Msimamo, Jiro, Jakendu B, Wangira, and I think it's Alex, Cowboy number 1 now. Yes. I want to say something about what this guy is. And also comment section, I say hi to you guys. And Kenya pahali popote ako, ajisikie ako salama salamini. I think we are getting somewhere. This time around, we are getting somewhere. And I hope we are not going to let it fall. So for me, I just want to ask Ruto, fake news, fake propaganda, where are they coming from? I want to ask him, Burundi, Uganda, and Congolese forces, is it fake news? Bribing politicians to impeach others, is it fake news? Killing squad is fake, inflicting pain in the citizens, is it fake news? Andani deal, is it fake news? Health interference is fake news? His lies, is it fake news? Hakuna mtu ana shida kama sisi wa Kalenjin, is that fake news? So all these things, when you put them together and you see him trying to make like we are propagandists or we are giving fake news. All these things belong to him. He's a liar, and he has lied to Kenyans all throughout. And what he is trying to do is like he's retaliating to us, having discovered that he's a liar, he cannot perform anything. And so he's angry of his own being somebody who has no effort to do anything in our country. This guy, he will come running to you na ataenda na masikio yako akisema wewe ndio umemkosea na yeye ndiye amekukosea. So we have to be careful with this guy. Anataka kuwa aje mtu mbaya, tumbadilisha awe mtu mzuri ama tumu-accept ati yeye ni mtu mzuri. Somebody who has been saying I'll do this, and I don't know whether yesterday I mentioned something like somebody said that what Ruto says is not what he is going to do. And I am thinking, kwa nini siku moja asikuja aseme nitawaua, so that he don't kill people? So because he goes in a reverse way, he goes the opposite. Huyu mtu right now he's angry of his own faults, na huyu mtu ndio atajitoa kwa hiyo kiti. I believe so. Kwa vitendo zake, tabia yake, na yale yote amepangia watu. Watu wamemuelewa, wamemsoma, tumemuelewa mbinu zake na upande gani anaelekea. This guy is angry right now because nobody want to hear him. Na ameona tumemgundua. Na ukigundua mwerefu mjinga, mwerefu mashakani. Na hiyo nitaachia hapo. Asanteni sana kwa kunisikiza. Thank you, Bernardo.
Thank you, mami. Mjinga kerevuka, mwerevu yu mashakani. Just to a short one before Jakindube takes it. This is the reason for anger.
Mombali nanga. Kasongo mbona wewe. Songa libala. Oh yeah.
Bana dio video cheza tena bana. That's a very powerful.
Kasongo Mombali nanga. Kasongo mbona wewe. Songa libala. Oh yeah.
Dhambi. Amwezi kurudisha salamu ya Mungu. Akainua mkono moja, no response. Akasarenda, no response.
Amesalimua na Kasongo. Hujasikia Kasongo amemsalimia?
Aya, baba, Jakindube, hali vipi leo?
I love Kasongo. Kasongo ni mzuri.
Wewe wachana Kasongo.
Salama sana. Salama kabisa. Mimi si jambo. Na wasalimia wote kabisa. Isipokuwa mimi nina jambo. Nina masikitiko sana kwa Mr. Njiru vile amezungumza juu ya kusema sisi watu wa mlima. Unajua inanisikitisha kwamba tunarudi tu pale tulikuweko. Hiyo kuwekwa kwa kikabila kwa sehemu ambapo tumekuwa tukisema hapa tuache kuwa tunawekwa kama kabila, kwa sababu hiyo ndio imetupatia shida zote hizi ambazo tunazo. Na mimi nataka Wakenya wajue kwamba mimi nataka Wakenya wajiulize au msome history vile wabeberu walikuwa wanatufanyia. Alafu uangalie na hizi serikali zetu. Uanze na wale walikuweko katika serikali ya Kenyatta, wale wameona serikali ya Moi, wale wameona ya Kibaki, ya Uhuru. Uangalie hawa watu wanaangalia wananchi wao namna gani. Kwa sababu hawa watu kama kitu moja hamujaelewa ni kwamba ukoloni ilikuwa kazi yake ni kugawa, kusema ninyi ni watu sehemu fulani, ninyi ni watu wa sehemu fulani. Kwa sababu mimi nashangaa kwa nini tunawakaribisha watu ambao walitupoteza, wapotovu, walitupeleka the wrongs, mtu kama Gachagua aliwashawishi muende mfanye makosa. Yaani watu mlima kama wanajiita hivyo. Mimi siwaiti, mimi nasema watu wa Central Province waende wa vote mtu ambaye ni mwizi, mtu ambaye alafu akirudi tunampigia makofi. Amefukuzwa tunampigia makofi. Makofi gani? Nali ametupoteza, amepotosha, amewapotosha. Alafu the same mtu ambaye amewapotosha bado mnamkubali. Unajua hii ndiyo maana tunaendaga kwa sako tu na wale tu hao, kwa sababu wanajua akienda huko akishaenda huko afanye makosa anarudi kwetu anatuambia tunamalizwa. Unaona, alafu mnaingia kwa hiyo box yake. Hii ni kitu inatakiwa tukatae. Mtu kama ashatuonyesha ile chaguo lake ambaye alituambia ni nzuri, tumeona ni mbaya, hawezi turudi tena atuambie tumsikilize. Huyo tunampiga kalamu. Hiyo ndio tutapata viongozi vizuri, hivyo ndivyo tutajikomboa. Lakini kama bado tunafuata the same people ambao wametuletea fujo, wametufanya tumekuwa katika hii hali, tunaenda wapi? Mimi ninashangaa sana, nasikitika sana vile ninavyoona the same hao watu ambao wametupotosha, ambao rekodi zao ni mbaya, rekodi zao si nzuri. Ndio inaweza kuwa labda amefanywa makosa kwa impeach, lakini ni chaguo lake. Yeye ndiye alichagua, yeye ndiye aliwaletea, akasema Ruto ni mtu mzuri sana, msimsikize Uhuru. Alisema hivyo, tusimsikize Uhuru. Sasa amepigwa na huyo Ruto, anarudi kwetu kufanya nini? Na yeye ameshatuonyesha, na Ruto mwenyewe ameshatuumiza. Tunamsikiliza sasa. Sasa tunamkaribisha anakuwa tena hero. Bwana, hii hakuna mahali tunaenda. Kama hivyo ndivyo Kenya wanafikiria, kama hivyo ndivyo tunafikiria. Mimi nilikuwa nafikiri kwamba hawa watu ambao wametudanganya tunawatema. Lakini kama ni hawa watu tunawakaribisha, hakuna mahali tunaenda. Maana tulichagua hawa watu. Saa hii wanalia, wameumizwa. Ukisha wapatia tu uongozi, they are back to vile walikuwa. Hawezi kulala, na hiyo hatuwezi kuchagua viongozi wazuri. Tutabaki hapo tu. Hawa watu tunasema hatutaki kuongozwa na hao watatuongoza. Mambo ya kusema fake news, mnajua Ruto ni mtu muongo. Sijui mnataka sijui watu wanataka Ruto awadanganye kiasi gani ndio tuelewe. Ni mdanganyifu, na ni vitu ambavyo unaona kitambaa ni nyeupe anakuambia ni nyeusi. Huyo ni mtu wa namna gani? Alafu ndio bado akija kwa mkutano watu wanakimbia huko kumshangilia. Jamani, sisi wa Kenya, mimi nawaambia lazima tutoke kwa ukoloni. Hii kitu lazima kila mmoja tujiangalie. Soma hata history, uangalie vile wakoloni walikuwa wanatufanyia. Tumeshindwa kutoka kwa hiyo hali ya ukoloni vile tunafikiria. Hata nimesikia watu wakisema sana hata tumeandika tuna constitution ambayo tumekopi tu. Tumefanya wapi kazi? Tumeandika wapi? Si tumekopi tu hiyo constitution, na ndio maana tunashindwa kuifuata, kwa sababu ni kitu tumeletewa. Alafu tunasema tuna democracy. Tuna demokrasia gani ambapo ukisema kitu unauawa? Ukisema tu tunasema tuko na freedom of speech nini? Ukisema tu hao wanakufuata. Saa hii sasa tuna watu wanakufuata, wanakushika, wanakuua. Hii ni kitu ambayo haitakikani. Na hao ambao saa hii wanakimbia wanarudi, walikuwa wanashiriki katika hayo mambo ya kuchukua watu na kuua watu. So mimi sikubaliani na hii mambo ya kusema ati akina Gachagua sasa wanakuja kwa mkutano wanakaribishwa. Hawa ni wale watu ambao walitupeleka the wrong side. Kwa hiyo hawa watu ni vizuri wa Kenya tuwateme. Asante sana Bernard.
Okay, thank you. Jackie Ndube, unasema once bitten twice shy. Indeed, we have a great opportunity to ventilate and look into the issues. And that's why our approach to leadership needs to cease to be a reaction. We have to get back to our senses and take an initiative to deliberately toe the line and have a path that is, worth following. I think we react too much, and that is why we are always caught unawares in terms of being seduced by deceptive people claiming that they have changed and now they are for the masses. If we took some time to ventilate and look into matters clearly, we will do better in deciding the way forward. For me, I think each and every Kenyan has a lot of looking internally to do in how to tell where we are going as a people. A failure to do that, to kopabaya, and we may just be buried in that same place. Well, let's hear Alex and then Wangira. Alex, how are you? Alex, you're still mute. Alex, you forgot you're here. Okay, it appears maybe as technical hitches. Mr. Wangira, are you set?
Yes, I am. How are you, Bernard?
Great, great. Karibu.
Oh, the studio is full today, so, my regards to everybody. There is this paradox, a contradiction of, when one team joins, William Samoei Ruto, people want to see it as okay. And, when Rigathi Gachagua, is trying to pull people on another way, then some people say that, that should not be the way, But that, to me, that's a contradiction. And, what we need to find as a country, is to find, the right direction in which we want to take. For example, Bernard, where I stand, there's nothing wrong with ethnicity because all of us, are born in a particular ethnic group. The only problem that we seem to have in this country, Bernard, is what we call negative ethnicity. So, the only thing that we need to do, Bernard, is to try and promote what we call positive ethnicity. For example, a number of times here when I come here, people are talking of Murima. And, it's portrayed in a very negative way, every time I come here and they're mentioning it, it's being mentioned in a very, very negative way. Instead of people realizing that, the people from Murima could have discovered, that they made a mistake and, they're trying to correct that particular mistake. And instead of us encouraging them to correct the mistake, it's as if we are vilifying them every time by saying Murima. The people from Mount Kenya have discovered that, they made a mistake. Secondly, they have discovered that they need to coexist with other Kenyans. That's something they have discovered, and that's something that they are saying openly out there, which means Bernard, that the people of Mount Kenya are ready to engage in what I call positive ethnicity, as much as they are an ethnic group, but they want to go to that direction of ethnic positive in that direction of being positive, Bernard. And that's what we should encourage any other Kenyan community, Bernard. Let us be positive. I should not feel ashamed of being a Luya, but I should not. What I should discourage, Bernard, is for me to use my Luya ethnic group negatively. If I can use my Luya ethnic group positively for the welfare of the nation called Kenya, then we should encourage it, because there's nothing I can do about it. I was born a Luya, I'll die a Luya. That's how I found myself. There's nothing that I can do about it. So let us encourage our brothers from Murima who have now started to see things positively, Bernard, to continue seeing them as positively as possible. Because, by the way, I've been reading many comments, and Bernard, especially there is this group that are saying, Bernard, that, for example, that, Baba should miss the AUC seat. And if you get their reasoning on why they are saying that Baba should miss the EUC seat, it's not in bad faith. They are saying that they have checked around, and perhaps they see that perhaps the only person who can steer this country positively after 2027, Bernard, is Baba. And they believe that if we export Baba to EAC, African Union Commission, Bernard, will have lost something. And that's why they are saying that, Baba should lose the African Union Commission seat so that in 2027 we can reward him by becoming the president of the Republic of Kenya. And that is the positive angle that I am seeing with our brothers from Moriba. And they have been clear about it, Bernard. So, every time people come here and they want to verify our brothers, it does not augur well. And especially, when they have realized their mistake and when they are ready to change. On what William Samoei Ruto talked about today, William Samoei Ruto said that, we should believe in this country. Bernard, the reason why some of us are even here on this particular platform, Bernard, is because we believe in this country. Otherwise, we could have given up on this country long time ago and perhaps looked for another place to go. But because we believe in this country, Bernard, that's why we keep on struggling. We keep on talking every evening, and we keep on believing that this country can get to the better. Then he talked about negativity. Bernard, it's not about anybody being negative, Bernard. It's about the reality of life in this country, Bernard. It's about the reality of life. Under William Samoei Ruto, Kenya has gotten from bad to worse. And that's the reality. And when we are telling him that, under your regime, Kenya has gotten from bad to worse, and he thinks that is negativity, Bernard, that's not negativity, that's reality. And just like Mama Mary has said, Bernard, the issue of claiming that it's propaganda, claiming that, it's fake news, Bernard. For example, it is their record, government record, that, up to over 300 people have died in a manner that is not very, very clear. 300 people who have died in a manner that is not very, very clear. Either they were murdered, either they were murdered or killed, in a manner that is not very, very clear in such a very short span, Bernard. And, when we talk about it, you want to think that, we are being negative, or you want to think that it's fake news, you want to think that it's propaganda. Bernard, abductions are real in this country. And, we have the story of, Bob Njagi and the Longton brothers, Bernard. Those are real stories in this country. So when we talk about, when we say that, this particular regime could be involved in abductions, of innocent citizens, Bernard, how does that become propaganda? How does it become fake news, Bernard? I believe, somebody should tell William Samoei Ruto to become realistic, the other time I was on this platform and I asked, whether, William Samoei Ruto ever summons himself for a meeting. Whether he ever summons himself for a meeting. And I believe this is the time that William Samoei Ruto should summon himself for a meeting. 50 million Kenyans, Bernard, cannot be wrong. And one person in the name of William Samoei Ruto becomes right. How could that be? That, is the only person who's right and 50 million Kenyans are wrong. How realistic is that? And, that's the reason why perhaps he needs to summon himself to a closed-door meeting and talk to himself, Bernard. Because the people of Kenya are complaining. People of Kenya are complaining, and that's the reality. People of Kenya are saying that, this country is not taking the right direction, and that's the reality. So you don't come back to blame the people of Kenya for what you call negativity, blame them for fake news, blame them for propaganda. As much as, you like to do it, Bernard, He's not going to succeed, Bernard, to bury some of these things, under the carpet. For example, it's public knowledge that 61 young people were killed, during the GNC demonstrations, Bernard. He has not addressed this issue. We don't know whether there will be reparations. We don't know whether there will be an apology from the state. Bernard, it's as if he wants to bury it under the carpet. And that's what the people of Kenya are saying, that, Mr. President, there is an issue here. There is an issue here that you must, handle. But, when he's being told that there's an issue here and he sees it as negativity and he sees it as propaganda or he sees it as fake news, Bernard, then, we don't know the type of direction this country is taking, Bernard, So, this gentleman, let him just summon himself for a meeting. Because if he does not do that, Bernard, I've told you something about positive ethnicity. I see positive ethnicity playing a major stage here in 2027. When you hear, especially my brothers from Murima, say that, they want to pay back Raila Odinga by voting for him, Bernard, and they are serious. Many of them are serious. They are saying that if that guy runs for presidency in 2027, they'll vote for him. That's an element of positive ethnicity, Bernard. And, if William Samoei Ruto is not very, very careful, this positive ethnicity will send him home. And again, Bernard, I don't know what the plan could be, what Raila Odinga's plan could be, Perhaps, the Raila Odinga plan could be to expose William Ruto to a point, where he cannot redeem himself. And come 2027, Bernard, it will become easier for the people of Kenya to take him home. Because, today I was just having a discussion with somebody. Then we were just trying to analyze, what is Raila Odinga's plan in this Ruto dynamics. And, somebody was telling me that, Raila Odinga could be playing a game where he wants to expose this guy that, come 2027, Bernard, William Samoei Ruto will not have anywhere to hide. And, coupled with what I've called, positive ethnicity, Bernard, perhaps come 2027, just like the Bible says that, everything works for good, 2027 could be the year that will send this man home, Bernard, So, let us not demolish our brothers from Murima too much, and especially when they are portraying, Bernard, what I call positive ethnicity, Let me just stop there and allow somebody else to come in. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Wangira, thank you so much. Positive ethnicity, that is the new phrase in the conversation. Well, I appreciate everyone and every coming together of different communities. There is nothing wrong with that, and I don't think that should be discouraged. It only becomes a problem when we come together so that we can rally against another. That's when now the ethnicity becomes bad and eventually result into an irredeemable conflict. My take on the watu wa Mrima ama watu wa Mlembe ama watu wa sehemu fulani kuja pamoja, I would that let's come together and establish strong pillars of great leadership among ourselves, because stepping out there for interacting with others when we have not built a strong base of strong structures of leadership in terms of our homes, our community levels, and all that is what result into these injuries that we are talking about. Because anybody will be ready to fight you when you are on the battlefield and there is nobody coming behind you. But when they see you have pillars right behind you, then they will take their time in terms of how to handle you. And so my advice is for each and every grouping, let's not just concentrate on dancing on the national platform without strengthening our stakes. There is that, I think is Isaiah 54, where it says, spread your curtains, strengthen your stakes, and do what? And stretch your tents. And so strengthen your stakes means let's strengthen our base first, And then from there, we can now expand. If you expand without strengthening the stakes, what happens is that you collapse. And so let's not be so much carried into identifying with this, picking this, supporting this, until we forget that it's our responsibility to do the required setting of our house in order. That aspect of setting our house in order, to me, is very important, because as long as we are fighting among ourselves and we go out there to fight, we have a guarantee that we will fail. But if we clear our differences and then go out there as one unit, we'll be able to get what needs to be done rightly. As for William Ruto and his bid to continue being president of the Republic of Kenya, is doing everything that makes him not to be elected again. That is the worst part of it. I mean, is it the worst or the good part? We can't even get the proper adjective to describe William Ruto, because he is working very hard to make sure he cannot be re-elected. Now, if he has plans of running again as president, he should be doing everything in his power to endear himself to the Kenyans. But it's inflicting pain in Kenyans with every passing day. And that means I don't think he plans to run again. If he plans to run again, he should have changed the strategy and realized that he needs to persuade and convince Kenyans that Kenyans are safe in his hands. As it stands now, Kenyans know they are not safe in the hands of Ruto. There is nothing Ruto can tell them that can change their minds. They know they are not safe in the hands of Ruto. So until Ruto proves otherwise, he's not electable. And that means anyone credible running against William Ruto is able to win if we all seriously look for leadership. We forget the politics, we forget the ethnicity, we forget Mutuetu, and look for a leader. And since our country has been badly damaged, we should not entrust it to a novice. We should entrust it to trusted leadership that is able to navigate fast enough and help us be resuscitated and get back into the game. Now, naomba hivi kabla Njiru alikuwa ameinua mkono, namuona Captain pia ameingia. Before that, let me just bring this in as part of a strong question that somebody has asked here that I also want to bring up even as we debate to consider, because kwangu mimi naona Wakenya sisi ndio adui wetu wakubwa wala sio wageni. Let's get this man speak to us.
I was having a meeting with some people in town in Lusaka. I said, you know, when I look around and I look around the cases in town that we have of people that have been charged with cases of corruption, it is not people from the village. It is us with degrees. The high-profile cases that are in contention in the courts of law, it is not for a villager from Nwingo. It is us that have tested the Manila paper. It is us that have known the figures. It is us that have read Aristotle. It is us that have studied psychology. It is us who have studied the principles of accounts. It is us. And I ask myself a question. If education is producing thieves, why then should we continue to educate them? If the country today is wrestling with the issue of corruption because of people that went to school, the question that begs an answer is, why should we continue to educate? Because it means the more we educate, the more thieves we produce.
Njiru, ulikuwa na swali ama jibu?
Okay. Let me.
It should be in less than a minute so that we give captain ama tupatie captain kwanza ndio tukuje kwako.
No, Bernard, you can give Njiru and then just as per the arrangement, I'll come in, no problem.
Okay, I wanted to talk briefly about that ethnicity issue. Let me tell you, in Kenya, how is our fabric? Our fabric is, or how is our politics? Our politics is simple. Groups come together because our needs, our social needs, are engraved on how we exist. And so we have society needs and we have national needs. So, though we also have leaders who represent us from different places, we presume those leaders, they present our needs in the national stage. And that is why it is not only Kenya alone where we practice this divided politics, whereby we are somewhere, even America itself is a divided society. There are those people who are on the Republican side, there are those people who are on the Democratic side. And it remains that way. And their society needs are engraved on that belief. Even for us, as person who comes from Murima, their societal needs, which are engraved to us because of our uniqueness of where we came from, because of our negotiation power of what we need to happen into our society. People in the lake and the people in Western, they have their own societal needs. Though we have what cuts across the intersection of the set, there is what cuts across. So we cannot escape, no matter how intellectual we want to behave here, or people want to tell us that we cannot exist as a society independently and dependently. That is how Mungu ametuumba, and we cannot lose that, because that is how we have been from the time. Even Jews, they have the 12 tribes. The Bible says 12 tribes. Judah, you know them. So even in Kenya, we have 42 tribes, because if we lose that culture of the tribes, we will not think of the Makonde, we will not think of the Indians, we will not think of the Ogiek. If we just say that, because like the Ogiek, wengine wanataka kutolewa from the indigenous places huko kwa misitu kule wanakaa, wanataka kutolewa. So if they don't come as Ogiek, and now we start saying that let the Ogieks come as Kenyans, those people will be swallowed and their issues will not be solved. So the easiest way to navigate Kenyan politics is regional to national and coalitions of the willing. That is what we do. So watu wa Mlima wanatafutana na watu wengine with an aim of, and that is how even our constitution was built. When we talk of 50+1, what I say, Bernard, because it is important. When we talk of 50+1, it is because Mlima itself cannot build 50+1. So what do? Mlima has to look for a coalition of the willing somewhere, and we discuss on what we are going to solve. But this is what has been happening. Coalitions in Kenya have been largely been coalitions about people. So those people, our top leaders, some of them who are not who do not have interest of our legions. So like Ruto goes to negotiate with Gachagua. I'm giving an example. So when Ruto is going to negotiate with Gachagua, they are negotiating on individual terms, in pretext that they are negotiating for Kalenjins and Mount Kenya, in quotes. So, and that is a problem which was there. When Gachagua went to negotiate with Ruto, he went as Gachagua. it was Gashaguaism. There was no Mulima there. You understand? So now the dichotomy has to change, that we have to be doing public participation from the grassroots. These are the things we want. If we have to build any coalition, it is a coalition on these issues. It's not a coalition on Gachagua wood. We are saying we are because you see it was very low, like even some people from Mount Kenya region to even follow somebody, if they followed him, that we are saying we are not with this person, we trust him, we will just go, we are people from the church. You understand? So there was no regional talks. So Jakidube, we are not trying to propagate tribalism here. But what we are trying to say in a nutshell is all this, before we become national, we are regional. We cannot talk of Kenya if we don't talk of Luo, if we don't talk of Kikuyu, and these communities have to be there for the next 200 years. I don't see a way in which these things have to go away. I don't see how Luos are going to lose their joy in the name of they want to become Kenyans. More Kenyans, and they want to lose their joy.
Wananjiru, I think you are describing our problem and not our solution. Because of that, we are where we are. And 61 years, we have not been able to solve our problem. So are we going to perpetuate a problem simply because that is the way we are and that's the way we've been working? I don't have a problem with regional balancing and regional coming together. I believe that's the reason why we have devolution, so that special counties that find themselves in a special environment can address their special problems in their special way, away from the eye of other Kenyans. Why should we make a particular region or two regions be determining our national outlook at a disadvantage of the rest of the communities? So in my opinion, what you have just described is our problem. We need to let every community, when it comes to national matters, not for them to be decided as a community, to be decided as individuals, so that the leader we put in State House is not a regional leader. The leader we put in State House should be owned by all Kenyans, not imposed on Kenyans. And so address your spatial societal proximity problems through counties that have your own people as governors, your own people as MCS, your own people who can even have their meeting in their vernacular language, and it will work. But now when you want to come and conduct Kikuyu service in State House, tutakosana huko na Wajaluo, tutakosana huko na Waluya, tutakosana huko na Wakale. Kwa nini? State House ni ya Wakenya wote, si sehemu moja. So I think as we look into the solution to this thing, we should not perpetuate a problem. Coming together of two strong communities to determine the presidency of the nation has been our unmaking. And we should break into that and fix it right. That when it comes to national matters, it's not regional. It is not different regions coming together to decide the future of the country. We should have a leadership that is ratified by the majority of Kenyans and widespread. That's why the constitution talks of 50+1, then talks of 25% in each and every county, of which I believe, or in at least half of the counties, of which, in my opinion, we need to make it 50-50. Okay, so that we don't have a president who is unpopular and imposing himself, greeting us by force simply because he was declared as a winner. We need to have a president who, when he goes to Turkana, he has a fanatical following. He goes to Coast, he has fanatical following. When he goes to Nyanza, he has fanatical following. Why? Because he's a president of the majority of Kenyans. Not the president of let's agree to come together to rig elections so that we disadvantage the other communities. So kwangu mimi, mukuje pamoja. pangeni nyumba yenu vizuri, lakini msijipange kinyume na sisi. Na msijipange ili mtuamulie sisi tutaongozwa vipi.
A question to you, Bernard, in terms of that rhetoric you have brought. Yes. When two Kenyans come together, I'm just putting it because that is how it is prayed. There is a Luo man here who is politically influential, and there is a Kikuyu man here who is politically influential. I want to ask you a question: which one is stronger in terms of political influence and political determination? Which one is stronger? Is it two Kenyans have come together, or is it a Luya and a Kikuyu have come together? Which one is stronger?
You said both of them are influential. If they come together, they are the two that have come together, except they have been sent. Like in the Luya tradition, when we want somebody to be an MP, that's what used to happen. They look among our sons, then they will go and look like they went to see Wako. You remember when Wako ceased to be the Attorney General of all life? The people in Busia went to visit him and told him, our son, we want you to continue, go to listen for us and hear for us things there. So no retiring. We want you to go and see for us. So he's not coming on behalf of himself as Wako. He has been sent by the community. Different from what you are saying, akuje Nairobi, akutane na nani, akutane na Uhuru, wakubaliane, okay? Na wakisha kubaliana sana, anarudi anawaambia Waluya njia ni hii. Huyu naye ambia Wakikuyu njia ni hii. That is now imposition, which is dictatorship.
And that's why I said we need public participation. We need people to be talking together, and these people, they should only become a conduit of association, and that is the problem. That's what I was saying. So when you look at this ethnicity which we are talking about here, it has to be studied, and we have to see how we have to use it without losing it, and still without defragging others, because there are issues.
So we'll dive further into the same. Thank you very much for the same. This I know is an emotive matter, number one. Number two, an inexhaustible subject, because that has been the fabric, and that fabric has done some good, some evils. So we will need to ventilate on it and find a middle ground. But in my opinion, Kenyans need to appreciate that their country needs their input, but positively, not anti any other person. Captain, you can come in now if you're ready.
Yes, I can come in. I see Jagindube is raising his hand. Maybe he's almost falling down, and I'll not agree because you are the one to direct. I think the way.
No, I wanted the people who have not spoken to speak first, then we can go to the second round.
Okay.
So you speak,
you very
and
much.
then we have Wepuhulu speak, and then tasa tukirudi kwa Jagindube tutakuwa tunaenda the following round, and kama kuna swala litatokea wakati huo.
Fair enough. Very good. I think I heard of something that Njiru said, even though he's coming in with new names like NM, Nobo, but he's Njiru. I know him as Njiru. That the influentialness of two people coming together. I think that the politics of Njiru is far beyond where Kenya is. Kenya is so much well informed in Njiru that our people in Kenya, they follow the tune. As much as your pocket is speaking very well, you will be known. Even if you bring Obama to your politics and you are stingy, Kenyans cannot even want to know anything about you. Let me tell you, Njiru, that in Kenya, when it comes to 2026, we start the next campaign. Some people will have like 5 t-shirts. ODM, UDA, Fort Kenya, blah, 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 blah. Wetangula anakuja, niko na t-shirt yake. Lakini ndani yake nimevaa ingine ya ODM, na nimefanya UDA na that is the influentiality ile naona ule anatoa pesa mzuri ndio nitamfollow. So even if you come together like how many of you now go stingy, it cannot work in Kenya. Now Bernard, as the Furious blames, Ruto blames fake news for lost support as Gachagua impeachment sparks Mount Kenya unity. I don't know. Some of the people, they believe that the people who are dancing on weekend are the Mount Kenya who can decide the politics of Mount Kenya as far as the impeachment of the deputy president concerns. For me, I don't know if it works like that. And until today, I even don't understand. According to the 11 allegations that were placed against the deputy president by Mwengi Mutuse, I have not believed. I have not believed. But in reality, what a government doesn't want to tell us is the fight between the deputy president and the president himself is because of the looting of the people's property, the people of Kenya, who is me and you. That they know the deputy president by 2026 or the next campaign of 2027, Gachagua will be spilling out beans of what has happened on the previous government, where he was deputizing the William Ruto. That is the reason why Ruto saw it very early that nisipotoa huyu jamaa 2027 itakuwa ngumu. Na sisi wa Kenya tunajua, we know it all. We are so much well informed. William Ruto, you don't have even to do all this paka na panya siasa nini, mara unatoa deputy wako, mara unatuletea Kindiki kwa sababu Kindiki haongei sana, unataka kummanipulate yeye juu labda wa Kenya wasikisie sana. You are rewarding him because labda mulikuwa na yeye ICC huko. We are not here to pay the price of the people who worked for you before as a reward. No, we are not for that. Kenyans need delivery because right now as we speak here, we can even remember the opposition leader who is Raila Odinga is in government by now. There's no opposition in Kenya now. The promise he gave to Kenyans was that the very low family class people will be getting like 6,000 every month. The people from my region, where William Ruto comes from, my question is that if Raila could have failed to provide this 6,000 and is the president, how could have been Eldoret be as we speak? Maandamano each and every day. Raila hajatupatia 6,000, alituambia 6,000 nini. But because now it is our son in power, we are manipulated to assume that things are working on well. That we want to assume that oh no, Ruto anafanya vizuri, kila kitu iko sawa, Gachagua sio mjamaa mzuri. How? Gachagua even was not known even to some of us panelists here. We didn't know him. You are the one who brought him to us. You told us that now he's my running mate, and it's okay now. Vote for me. Na tukakupigia kura. What happened? Even you are not even in a half of your leadership. Mkomana malumbando ingine haieleweki. That is what you are telling us now. It's sparking the Mount Kenya that I don't understand, because the leader of majority in the parliament is supporting you. Is from Mount Kenya. So now when we say it is igniting Mount Kenya, I don't understand. Maybe the people wenye waliambiwa pesa mfukoni, ule mama wa mboga na mtu wa bodaboda ndio wanastuka, kwani huyu Ruto tulimpigia kura ni mgani tena huyu? Anatoa deputy president. For us and for me, the whole panelists here, things are not in order. And even anyway, we are still early. 2027 is so far. It is only 2.5 years, if I'm not wrong. Lakini what are we doing? Because for me, I cannot say tunamtoa kwa kiti. Hawezi toka sahi mpaka amalize hii tano. Kutoka kwake hii tano ni ku make sure asiingie tena sasa ya kwenda 10. It's not even 10 kwa sababu I'm hearing Cherargei, another idiot from my region, is telling us that at CG we are extending this term limit to be 7 years. Surely 7 years. Mimi mwenyewe governor, senator 7 years na president. Mimi mwenyewe hata mimi mamangu alinisukuma bana. Na atafurahia akiona nikiwa mahali kama ako hai. What if I wanted to be a senator of Nandi, na wewe umejiongezea miaka ingine 2, na hiyo 2025 ningekushinda. What is the benefit of the womb of my mother if I'm not in the ballot? So people, Kenya is not moving to the right place. We've been in this platform before. We have talked too much. We have been talking so much even before elections, even after elections. Until now, we are talking too much. But why? Who can bring these leaders to some of us? We question them here. Why is it that when we invite them to platforms, they come like 2-3 minutes? When the questions are very tough, they run away. How? We say that they want like other international or other national platforms for Kenya, where they manipulate the broadcaster the way they want to talk. We want them to come here. Nimuulize swali, Chakini amuulize swali, Enem amuulize swali, Bernard ulize swali, Mary Wainaina ulize swali na Webukulu hapa. Live watujibu. Lakini wakienda pale hizo studio zingine wanatawala huko mbaya sana. But we Kenyans, we need our country to the best place that we want. We pay taxes, hatuna shida na hiyo. Lakini tunawapatia pesa, mnaingiza kwa
so, Bwana Captain, chunga muda.
I'm finishing, Bernard. I'm trying to finish. We need the accountability of everything that we are doing to the people, to the Kenyan government. Hakuna wakati umeitisha wananchi tax wakakata. Wanatoa hata mnawalazimisha. Mpaka mnabadilisha sijui NHIF ikue siafu na you are not even calling for public participation, but you call public participation for Gachagua. You get from Kenyans that, are we okay? Do you agree on what we have brought? Mtakuwa mnakatwa hii pesa kuliko hii. Tunaona hii ukikatwa hii itakuwa better kuliko ile nyingine. Mnalazimisha vitu kuna mnataka. Anyway, Bernard, take over from there. Maybe I might get some other chance some other time.
So, thank you, Bwana Captain. Indeed, Kenyans have a lot of rethinking to do, and then we should also stop the assumption of that we have that class called leaders, na sisi ni wa kuongozwa. The reason why the constitution requires that we have a fresh election after every 5 years is so that in case we had a bad leader in the past 5 years, we have an opportunity of replacing that particular person. And so leadership should not be that those politicians are the leaders and us, we are the followers. We should be able either one to offer ourselves or to groom people and put them in those leadership positions for the betterment of this country. We can't continue the way we are continuing and expect to solve the problems that are arising by reason of the bad people that got into leadership, either by design or by default. Well, wacha tumsikilize Webuhulu alafu tusonge mbele. Webuhulu, how are you?
Hello, hi Bernard.
I'm well.
Jambo from Washington, and hi to everybody, panelists and everybody else. The first thing I wanted to say, that Ruto fake news, that is nonsense. He's just a drowning man. That's what he's doing. He's clutching at straws. But one of the biggest things I've learned living in the US is you have one chance at the ballot box. So whether Ruto stole the vote, somehow he was sworn in. So it is partly our fault that we miscalculated. We didn't know what we were getting into. Secondly, Ruto is Moi's stepson, if you know what I mean. He handpicked him when Ruto beat Chesire back in, was that 90, it was 90 something. And Moi, just like he was a vice president to Kenyatta, liked yes men. And Ruto is going to be like that. I knew from the get-go he could not handle Gachagua because Gachagua, remember, was a one horrible DO. He was a very vicious guy. Those days that even chiefs could whip you, you know. So Gachagua and Ruto, I didn't see it going too far because Gachagua is also a tough little evil man. He did a lot of, I don't know how Kikuyu still loved him, but if they remember what he did to his own people at the direction of Moi, they would not even have looked at him. But that's a story for another day. And Ruto, one of the books that Ruto has perfected, other than Moi's rule book, is the 48 Laws of Power. He doesn't just play simple chess. He's perfected the 48 Laws of Power in his head. And so that's why he moves a little faster than, because other than in the Kanu regime, who else would have the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary supposedly at the tip of his hand? Hopefully the judiciary behaves itself in this matter, but we'll see. And then when it comes to taxes, the reason why he wants to punish people is because he wants us to pay for all this stupid loans. They're ridiculous. If you listen to some of Jimmy Wanjigi's submissions, Auditor General's, I didn't even see this because like right now it's afternoon where I am. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. And so at times I usually miss those headlines and if I don't catch them. But I had the Auditor General is screaming for help, so to speak. So the taxes, I've had, there's a new one, horticulture. I had about the vegetable. All those taxes, he's trying to steal more and hopefully pay off those debts that he owes. But I just wish Kenyans would learn that politics is like courting your future spouse. During the courtship time, everything is nice and dandy. But once you get married, then you realize, oh, it wasn't all a bed of roses. So I think it was Captain who said something about that, so and so will bring me a t-shirt, give me 100 bob. You know, I remember there was a slogan that take their money, but know what you're voting for. So I think the biggest thing that we have to do is civic education. You know, civic education, I think that is one big problem. I see it here in the US. There are people in the US who say, why should I vote? But the only difference with the US is their systems are put in place to where it doesn't matter who's in office. You'll change a few policies here and there, but the people who don't feel it. You may hate who is in office. I lived through 4 years of Trump. It didn't bother me, you know. I felt bad that he was hating on immigrants, and we had all these white supremacists running all over, but nobody touched me. But it's in Kenya, until we have those systems in place, then we will feel every change of God. Whoever gets into power will always feel the pain, because everybody will come in, inherit whatever the other did, and you know. But as far as we always pray for Kenya. But I don't think I'll be coming to Kenya until that man leaves office. As soon as he got in 22, that was the last time I stepped in Kenya. You know, because that man is horrible. He's horrible. So yeah, he's gotta go. I don't know how. Somehow, some way, God's gotta do something. Thank you so much for the time.
Okay, thank you, Epukulu. We appreciate that your input, and a good reminder of Trump and 4 years. I think the issue of extending term limits in Kenya should be reduced to that
Yes.
force. That if there is any problem,
this man has he's terrorized us for 2 years in Kenya. Why would I want another 5 years of him? 2 years only, because the way I feel it is a little different, because I have families that keep blowing up my phone, and I understand that life is not the way it used to be, you know. And so why would we want some more years of this man? He should be gone by yesterday.
Okay. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to engage, let's continue inviting each other as we listen to different Kenyans from every walk of life, looking at our situation and seeking the best way out of our confusing and, of course, government that is irresponsible. This one, you don't need, special prophetic eyes to see. An irresponsible father, an irresponsible leader will always run away from responsibility and will always find an excuse for his failures. That's what Ruto has been. That's what Ruto is. And I don't see him change any soon. And therefore, every effort needs to be put together so that we get rid of him from the driver's seat, lest he plunges into the ditch. Now, before we continue with the conversation, Jakindu Bey is next. Naomba hivi tuelewanwe kwa masuala mawili matatu. I told you that my mzee, mwalimu wangu, rested on the 17th of August. We'll be going to pay our last respect on the 2nd of November, and I require you to help us get there with our media crew and be able to stream live the funeral service. This is Mr. Nyawade. Huyu ndio mzee wangu wa maisha yangu yote ya Nairobi. And he was a pastor, an aviation officer, and many other lives he has led. So he passed on while he was witnessing the Gachagua impeachment. He didn't even wait for the verdict to be finished. He got an attack in his respiratory system, rushed to hospital, got to that hospital, and he couldn't make it while he was being taken to a better place, because where the clinic he went, they said, oh, the oxygen CV has what and all that. So while they were still cribbling around looking for how to get to the next nearby senior hospital, akamalizia safari yake hapo njiani. So I'll be needing you people to fuel us and send us to Yala on Thursday. We bury him on Saturday and get back here by Sunday or Monday morning. So we want you to come on board and help us in that, even as we begin to count days towards that final end. I appreciate everyone. Let's remain focused. I'll be giving you the details of how to do that. But most of you have my M-Pesa number. You can use that. I wouldn't want to introduce new numbers because it has its own implications and its own problems. Otherwise, let's keep doing what is right because it is right. And that way, we continue being a better family. Asante sana. Well, back to Captain, ulikuwa umeinua mkono, ni swali ama jibu?
Nimeinua mkono sasa, hata mpaka nimesahau ilikuwa niseme nini. Umechanganya sana, lakini
wewe tulia. Wewe kabla uongee, Jakindube alikuwa ameinua. So wacha tusikie Jakindube kwanza, alafu tarudi kwako. Thank you. Daddy, hali vipi? Ulikuwa una
salama mlima? Nilikuwa nataka kusema kwamba mimi kwa vile nilisema sikutaja kabila, nilisema tu kwamba watu wa Central Province wana welcome mtu ambaye alimislead watu. Hiyo ndio nilikuwa nasema, sikuzungumzia juu ya kabila, lakini ni vile vile nilisema kwamba tunataka kurudi katika kuwa balkanized katika hiyo mambo ya sehemu. Na hiyo mimi nataka kuambia, juzi tuliona hao vijana walituonyesha kwamba kuangalia Kenya wholesomely ni bora kuliko kuangalia hiyo sehemu ambayo nasikia mnazungumzia kwamba lazima utoke kwa sehemu fulani uwe na backing ya sehemu fulani. Hiyo tumejaribu, tumeshindwa. Hao vijana walipotokea kama wa Kenya, ilitingisha nchi yetu walipotokea kama wa Kenya. Na hivyo ndivyo mimi vile nafikiria inatakiwa tuwe hivyo kwamba nchi yetu ni Kenya, kwamba kukiwa na mtu ameumia Mombasa, imuume mtu ambaye yuko Malaba asikie uchungu. Usiwe kwamba kuna mtu ameumia Mombasa, kuna jambo fulani labda mtu anasema tu hiyo ni watu wa Mombasa, hajui, hana habari, hiyo sio sehemu yao. Hiyo ndio kitu najaribu kusema kwamba tuache hiyo, kwa sababu hiyo inatugawa. Tunatakiwa tuwe pamoja. Inatakiwa kitu ikifanyika Malaba inauma Kenya yote nzima, wanasikia uchungu. Hiyo ndio nasema itatusaidia. Juzi tu tuliona wakati jenzizi walitoka wakasema sisi tumejitokeza kama Kenya, nchi nzima ilitingisa nchi nzima, walijiona kama ni wa Kenya, kila mtu alitika Mkenya. Lakini wakati tumejaribu sana ile mambo ya kudemonstrate kama labda Azimio ni haifanyi, imekuwa tu ni watu Azimio, sehemu zingine hawasikii hiyo uchungu. So inatakiwa tuiangalie Kenya nchi yetu kama nchi yetu. Mimi nawaambia kwamba hii mambo ya kufanya utawala wa kibepari, yani wa kikoloni, hizi serikali zote ambazo tumekuwa nazo hazijaongoza vizuri, kwa sababu zimetegemea sana ukabila. Hakuna moja imeongoza vizuri, kwa sababu ukiangalia Kenya, wakati umechaguliwa kwamba president, unachaguliwa, ukisha kuwa president, wewe ni president wa watu wote. Watu wote Kenya nzima wanatoa kodi equal. Hakuna mmoja anatoa kodi kidogo kuliko mwingine. Kila Mkenya anatoa kodi. Lakini utakuta katika wakati wa sasa kupeana, hata kama ni ministry, unakuta sehemu moja wamepewa ministry nyingi kuliko sehemu zingine, ambapo inatakikana kila Mkenya, kila sehemu iwe na ministry. Kama ziko 3 ziwe ni hizo zigawe equal. So hizo ni vitu ambavyo inatakiwa tujifunze, tuache kufikiria kama zamani, tufikirie upya. Hiyo kama zamani tumejaribu 60 years, haitupeleke popote, tunarudia hapo hapo tu. Na nilikuwa nasema kwamba kukaribisha watu ambao walitupeleka kwa kiongozi mbaya haifai, kwa sababu hao watarudi watapata nafasi ya kuongoza na wao hawana sifa. Jambo lingine nataka kuwakumbusha Wakenya, unajua nchi yetu, nafikiri watu wengi hawajui kwamba nchi yetu haina dini. Hiyo nafikiri nikisema hivyo watu watasema Jakidube, lakini Kenya haina dini. Nchi yetu haina dini. Unaona, kuna nchi zingine zina dini, zinaongozwa na dini, lakini yetu ni nchi ambayo haina dini, lakini ni wacha Mungu, lakini hatuna dini. Unaona, hizo ni vitu ambazo zinatakiwa tutofautishe, kwamba nchi yetu ni nchi ambayo inajitawala yenyewe, haina dini, lakini makosa ile ambayo tunakuwa nayo ni hii mambo ya ambayo ikiguswa Wakenya wote hawakui comfortable. Ukisema mambo ya ukabila hawasikii vizuri, wanasema hapana, lazima nijitambulishe kama kabila fulani. Hapana, sitemi kabila hiyo ni mbaya, mimi sitemi hivyo. Nasema tu kwamba tujiongoze kama Wakenya, sio kama kabila fulani. Asante Bernard.
Sawa, asante Jakidube. Labda hapo swala la dini kwa kufafanua ama kwa ufafanuzi kamili, inaitwa nini, mwongozo wetu kama nchi, okay, fanya nini, haujahusisha dini. We cannot be called a Christian nation or a Muslim nation, but we have Muslim as a religion, and we have Christianity as a religion, we have Hinduism as a religion within the country setting. So our system of governance is civilian, it's not religious. I believe that is what Jakidube means by saying hatuna dini. In case I missed to fafanue mzee kabla tubadilishe.
Ni sawa kabisa, umeelezea vizuri kabisa. Tunamcha Mungu, yani tunaheshimu Mungu, lakini nchi yetu haina dini.
Exactly. Thank you very much, and I agree with you, and that's why I've never had never voted for anybody because he's a Christian. And there was even a time we were convinced in our pastors' fellowship that we should vote for a born-again person because the Bible says we should not be ruled by foreigners. And I told them, when I go to vote, I don't go to vote because I'm a Christian. I go to vote because I'm a Kenyan, and it's my citizen, my constitutional right to participate in the voting. But my Christianity should not be loaded over the country in the name that because we are believers, we should only have Christians as presidents. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a Muslim being a president, a Hindu being a president, a traditionalist being a president, because our country is governed with civilian approach of system of leadership. and not religious. And so those people who feel uncomfortable that kuna wale mpaka saa hii wanafanya campaign kwamba lazima wapigie kura Mkristo kwa sababu hawataki Muislamu. So, hiyo ni ubaguzi already, and in the process you will end up landing on somebody simply because he claims to be Christian. But look what we are in. Look the situation we are in the name of voting in a Christian. Walisema huyu alipatikana kwa maombi, sijui alipatikana kwa altar, sijui ni candidate wa kanisa. Sasa angalia vile kanisa imeenda, abductions, killings, people dying of no health care, all of it in the pretext that we don't want we don't want wherever, we want to have our own at State House. Mpaka mkajenga kanisa hapo inaitwa National Altar. All those things are just political gimmicks which have zero contribution towards bettering the country. Being reminded by Harun, it is secular state. Yes, we have a secular state and not a religious state. We have a secular state and not a religious state. And therefore, those who are using religion to get into the leadership of the country are misleading the population. We don't need a Christian president. We don't need a Muslim president. We don't need a traditionalist president in terms of for him to help us in our religious practice. No. If Ruto was a Muslim and I am a Christian, I don't expect him to be a president as a Christian. I want him to be a president according to the Constitution and take care of every Kenyan equally. When you use the presidents to do your religion, you are abusing Kenyans. You are violating the Constitution. Enda kanisani omba kwa sababu ni Mkristo. Lakini ikifika State House, Ukristo unaweka kando, wewe unafanya nini? Unafanya kazi kama mwajiriwa wa Wakenya. Some will call that blasphemy or going against my faith. That is not it. Hiyo ni mojawapo ya shida ambayo tuko nayo, watu blindly vote in a thug in the pretext that they are voting in their brother in the Lord. Brother in the Lord who has turned the country into missing
Bernard,
people. Yes.
Nimesema asante sana kwa kuleta ile tape nani pale ya mtu ambaye anasema mambo education ambayo mimi nimekuwa nikisema kwamba nina shida na kusoma na kuwa educated. Nina hiyo shida kwa sababu mtu ambaye amesoma, mtu mwenye elimu hafai kuiba pesa za hospitali, za barabara, za nini. Lakini wale wote ambao ni wanaiba ni watu wamesoma. Sasa hiyo inatakiwa siku moja ulete tujadilie tujue kwa nini inafanyika hiyo. Hawa wasomi ambao tunaambiwa lazima uwe na degree ndio ufanye kitu fulani, lakini unakuta na hiyo degree mtu anaiba. Kwa sababu hao wote ambao wamepora mali, hakuna mmoja ambaye sio msomi.
Okay, sawa. Hoja kali kweli. Captain, ulikuwa unasemaje?
Labda imenipita kidogo, lakini nataka kuuliza, kuna vile Jakindube amesema kwamba hatuna dini, na tunajua vizuri sana hata president mwenyewe ni mtu mcha Mungu. Amekuwa kanisa jana pale Maibeni. Deputy president wake pia amekuwa kanisa akishikilia ile kitabu ya wimbo akiimba na Dorcas. Hata the panelist here himself is also mcha Mungu. Lakini sasa Jakindube akituambia hatuna dini, nafikiri yako in a different world, not in Kenya.
No, Captain, hiyo ndio nilikuwa nafafanua. What he means is that serikali yetu sio serikali ya kidini kama vile we have the Islamic Republic of. You get that? Islamic Republic of means hiyo ni serikali ni ya Kiislam. Sisi hatuna serikali ya kidini. si tuko na serikali ya kawaida secular. Okay, so hatuwezi kusema serikali ya Kenya ya Kikristo.
Chakindbe amesema Kenya hakuna dini, si serikali. Amesema Kenya, nchi kama Kenya, sio serikali ya William kwamba
tukafafanua, akasema hiyo ndio alimaanisha. Hakumaanisha hakuna dini Kenya, alimaanisha uongozi wa serikali ya Kenya kikatiba haipasi kuwa ya kidini. So ukifika kwa serikali, tutoe dini, isiwe ya dini ina favor dini fulani ama inatumia dini fulani kukandamiza dini zingine. Kwa nini? We have a secular state that should recognize.
Very good, Bernard. Swali langu sasa kwako, shikilia hapo. Swali langu kwa hapo sasa, vile umesema hivyo, mbona pale kabla Ruto achaguliwe akiwa na Gachagua wakaita dini yote mzima pale Nyayo Stadium? Waislamu hawakuitwa wakuwe na siku yao ya Islamic, Waindia hawakuitwa wakuje wakamue ile ng'ombe yao wanakamua pale whatever. Sisi wenye hatuna dini hatukuitwa. What are you implying, Bernard? Can you kindly explain? Because somebody like me, sielewi, I don't understand.
What we simply mean, mojawapo ya shida ya uongozi wa William Ruto ni kutumia dini, okay, kwa serikali isiyo ya kidini. Unaona?
Lakini hakuna dini yangu ilitumika pale juu mimi sio Mkristo, si Muislamu.
Wakati mimi na, kwa mfano kipindi kama hiki, okay, nianze kukiongoza Kikristo, unaelewa? Nianze na Bwana asifiwe, yes, kila mtu aseme amen. Waislamu watakuwa uncomfortable, okay? Wataanza kungatuka one after the other. Traditionalist pia hivyo. Kwa nini nimebadilisha kipindi ambacho ni cha umma, okay, kukifanya kikakuwa nini? Cha dini moja. Unaelewa? So William Ruto aliingia kwa uongozi bila kuelewa. Unlike Uhuru Kenyatta, okay? Uhuru Kenyatta, Kibaki, hata Moi. Moi alikuwa anaenda kanisa ya kivyake, lakini hakuleta kanisa State House. Okay? Alikuwa anaenda AIC Milimani, anaombewa, ana nini, saa ingine anaenda Parklands Baptist, kwa Ambrose anaombewa na hiyo, lakini hakuleta kanisa wapi? State House. Kwa nini? State House ni ya Wakenya wote, na kwa Wakenya akarecognize kuna dini Msambwa, kuna Quakers, kuna Waislamu, na hao watu wote wanahitajika. So hiyo ndio Ruto alipoteza. Anataka kufanya nini? Kufanya sasa Kenya ikue serikali ya Kikristo, na Kenya haiwezi kuwa serikali ya Kikristo kwa sababu katiba haija recognize religious state. The katiba has made provision for secular state. So mojawapo ya shida tulio nayo na serikali ya Ruto ni ile kujaribu kuchristianize our government, which is wrong. Sure. And that's why he's running into challenge. Akienda huko zulisikia Nduale amemwambia asiguze vile Gachagua anasema asiguze mlima, yeye anasema asiguze Waislamu. So,
asiguze ngamia, ameambiwa asiguze ngamia.
So ni muhimu kuelewa namna hiyo, na hata mimi nikiwa rais wa Kenya, okay, as spiritual and Christian as I am, it is wrong for me to run the country using my Christian values at the expense of the rest of the society. I should differentiate. Professional, okay? Professional, like nikija kwa hii kipindi zimekuja as a journalist, okay? Siwezi sasa nianze kufanyia nini vile nafanyanga kanisani. Ukifika kanisa hiyo, you deal different, you are in a different environment. Here is a different environment. Ruto hajatofautisha, okay? Anafanyanga mambo yote kila mahali na hiyo imemchanganya. So akienda kwa Waislamu unaona anavaa hiyo kanzu lakini anataka kusema Bwana asifiwe. Kwa nini? Hajaelewa kazi yake. Naomba tusiende sana kwa hilo, tutaibua masuala yasiyowezekana.
So Bernard, but for me, what I've seen our president, the way he's behaving is that he has learned the brains of Kenyans. Because the other day you saw also he was in Turkana. Very well dressed on a Turkana regalia, and at the same time, even on a speech, talking, saying hi to the people of the region using the local language. And even after that, he was talking of the development that has been done, what the people of Turkana want, everything. But somewhere in the middle of the talk, he's even using the language, knowing very well that he's not from the region, but he's talking fluently that language. Because before he goes somewhere, I know this president, William Ruto, so much. He does analysis of how he's going to talk. He's given a lecture. Ukifika pale wale wanataka hivi na hivi. You see, until today, that I can say that William Ruto has learned the brain of Kenyans. And yesterday when he was in his region, my Ben, he said very well, siku ya siasa ikifika, tutapatana kwa siasa. Leo tuko kwa kanisa, hatujakuja kufanya campaign. That one for me, according to where I know William, he means a lot. Amesoma akili ya Wakenya kwamba nikikuja wakati wa siasa, najua vile nitakuja. Anakuja wewe Bernard, umepatiwa yako 200, sasa uko na nguvu ya kuambia captain hapa Chakindubei, Wevugulu na Mary Wainaina kwamba hapana, sasa sisi tuko Ruto bwana. Ruto iko sawa. Wewe umesikia atakuja kufanya sifu. Mara atakuja kufanya nini? So Bernard, you are in the platform controlling us here. Who are we to oppose you? That is how our president has learned how to manipulate Kenyans and how to control Kenyans. That tumia wale watu wa chini, lakini kura ya juu utakuwa umepata. Ndio maana akakuja na jina kwamba pesa mfukoni, sijui mama mboga, bodaboda, hizo zote. Naona? I think my network inanitupa. Unanisikia? Mnanisikia Bernard?
Yes, tamatisha.
Okay. Opposition sahi hatuna kwa sababu hata Raila sahi hata yeye ukimwambia hapa vitu haiendi poa, yeye pia amelewa ile vitu anapatiwa na serikali, sasa hata hatuangalii. So we are in for
sasa wewe unataka opposition gani wakati katiba haina opposition?
That is what I'm saying, hatuna opposition. Raila mwenyewe amepewa kila kitu, analewa.
Raila sio opposition.
Yeye ni serikali. Najua Raila sasa ni serikali bana. Ndio
nakwambia. Hiyo opposition unataka afanye haiko kwa katiba, unataka avunje katiba.
Hawezi, atavunja namna gani na hana nguvu? Yeye sasa ndio atavunja katiba ile yeye anakalia.
Ndio nashinda unatakaje? Naomba hivi.
Sawa bwana, sawa.
Nilikuwa nasema kwa hiyo swala lako la kusema Ruto amesoma akili za Wakenya akawaelewa. Kwenu naamini mnamsema unasema lightning does not strike a tree twice. Wakenya nao hawajamsoma. Yeye peke yake ndio amesoma Wakenya. Ile utajijibu. Well, to mama nani
akiingia ama
no, nimesema tu it should be two way. Yeye vile amesoma Wakenya naye Wakenya wamemsoma. Si unaona hii hii video ya utata
Kasongo yeye Mombali nanga Kasongo mbona wewe songa libala oh yeye
Yeah, so the American ambassador, Meg Whitman, ameenda pale IEBC, Anniversary Towers, akakutana na Hussein Marjan. Yeah, hiyo ni disaster. It's a total disaster kwa sababu wanasema wanafanya mutual cooperation. What is mutual cooperation? Hiyo ni euphemism ya kuiba uchaguzi. na inabidi Wakenya wawe macho, kwa sababu huyu mama Meg amekuwa akitembea nchini. Yeye ndiye alisema uchaguzi ulikuwa sawa. Unakumbuka ile conference ilikuwa Eldoret. Yeah. So kama wamekutana, ameenda pale Anniversary Towers na wakaongea na Hussein Marjan. What does that mean? Marekani inaongelea mambo ya IEBC, inapanga mikakati na IEBC. Hiyo hatutakubali. Alafu tena ujue kwamba hawa wamekuwa wakitaka kuweka mikakati yao nchini. Wamefungulia yule Bill Gates mlango awe uhuru kufanya vile anataka. Kuleta GMOs, kuleta mambo ya vaccination, wamama wetu kudungwa bila idhini yao. Nina watoto hata walidungwa vaccination kule shuleni kwa lazima bila idhini ya mzazi. Hiyo haitakubalika. It's not acceptable. Alafu tena ujue kwamba IBC imeachwa bila mtu kimakusudi. Yeah, it's deliberate so that wakati wote wanaweza kutumia IBC kufanya mambo yao. It's not acceptable, and it's time for every Kenyan to ask for the proper constitution of IEBC, na kama kuna referendum, kama kuna uchaguzi, wabunge ndio wawe kitu cha kwanza kwenda.
Sorry, Mama Mary, take it, please.
Thank you, Bernard, for the second opportunity. You have swallowed all my points that I wanted to speak about, actually. It's so amazing how everything has been taken away and the way I was prepared. Anyway, I was ready for that question, actually, about the ambassador who was visiting IEBC. I wanted to ask you, what is her job? Is she supposed to be in the embassy, or she's supposed to be roaming around in our country? When we remember what comment she made at our election was fairest, I don't know, and the best, I couldn't stomach that. That is one point I had written. The other one is about Webukulu. Webukulu, sorry, my brother. Many Kenyans who are outside the country, they are really wishing to go home. But that life has become so hard even to them, simply because they cannot afford to go home and support their loved ones. So they opt to stay and support their loved one, because life has really become hard both ways. That's why, Wepukulu, I am with you, I concur with you that we want to go home, but there is a lot of inconveniences that are really holding us not to be able to move. The other thing I want to say is about taxes, which people are being taxed. We cannot be overtaxed so that to pay the loans, which are not even servicing the country. If only we had these loans, servicing the country, constructing infrastructures so that our youth can get jobs, surely we would see that we are making progress in our country. But it's not that way. The money is coming to the country, held by few hands, and it is gone. And then you are told there is a loan. Whom do you expect to pay that loan when you have not supplied anything to the people you are taxing? People cannot be taxed what they have, and it is not from the government. We are not looking for handouts, and I have been singing this song. We are not looking for any handouts. The only thing we need is a peaceful country, free to do our businesses. Everything that the government ought to stand for it. Stand for education for our children. supply medicine in the hospital, pay salaries to the individuals who are servicing Kenyans, but you cannot be taking loans, come and keep it with you, and then you tell people we have loans to service, and you start taxing people what they don't have. That is an idea of somebody who wants us to go to the knees and start worshiping him, because we'll be looking for handouts which we are not used to. Kenyans are ready to work for themselves. And that is the culture of Kenyans. Kenyans are hardworking. They don't want any help from the government except the services that are eligible for the country so that it can move forward. The other issue, let me see. It's about, I think those were my points. Okay, Captain, about religion or Christianity in our country. These guys, when they got together, maybe they discussed what criteria or which formula are we going to use with this Christianity. Because I don't believe Ruto is a Christian. That is my belief and my opinion. I don't believe. Mimi niliona watu wachungaji ama watu ambao wanafuata dini wako na mienendo tofauti na ya Ruto. Ruto is so different from a person who knows what is religion. He has used religion to put himself where he is. But now the true colors have come out that he never meant that. He meant what he is right now. Huwezi kuwa ati unaenda kanisa kwa sababu yetu. You don't go to church because of Kenyans. You go to church, pray, repent, then you go to work. And when you go to work, you get to the office, start tackling the files with nothing concerning religion, but do diligent work, serve the people. Then Sunday comes, go to church, pray, repent what you have done that week, if you have committed any sin, and then go to work, do the work. You cannot tell us you are a Christian even when you are in the office doing wrong things to people and trying to show that you are a Christian than anybody, any Kenyan, because they are under you. You don't carry my religion. You don't carry my belief. You don't carry me to the church. I go to church where I want and when I want. And I pray to God when I want and how I want. Lakini huwezi kuchukua wa Kenya kuwe ati wewe ndio mfano wa mtu ambaye anaabudu Mungu kuliko watu wale wengine. Going to church is for your own benefit and for your own use. Once you leave the church, you go to the business and serve the people with no exceptional. Si Muislamu, si all those dinis. Zote unachukua Mkenya, huchukui dini. Ruto vile amefanya, amejichanganya, lakini ile formula alitumia kwa dini imeanza kumharibikia. Hana idea what to do. He cannot untangle himself from all the crimes that he has committed as a Christian. Na mimi hata sina idea. Kutoka zamani mimi sijaamini Ruto akona umungu ndani yake. And he can pretend that he is a Christian kwa sababu atawauliza swali la kijinga. Ati nimefanya makosa gani? Nimeua nani? Nimeabduct nani? Nani amepotea mikononi mwangu? Sijaona mtu yeyote ameuawa. Those are all nonsense. Huyu mtu hakuna jambo lolote mbaya limefanyika nchi yetu hajui. He knows. He is just a pretender Na hiyo dini hata afadhali aachane nayo. In fact, tumjue yeye ni kama chokora ambao wanaongeaga wazi badala ya kupretend. And pretending using the name of God, whereby many souls, that is where they run when they feel heat, when they feel weak, when they feel slugged. That is where they run to. Can we really run to Ruto? Is there any Kenyan who can run to Ruto for help? None. As far as we are concerned, tumemwelewa. Somebody says Ruto ametuelewa. Captain and others, hata sisi tumemwelewa. Tumejua yeye si mdini, yeye ni muuaji, yeye amefanya maovu mengi sana nchi yetu, na bado anaelekea kufanya mambo ambayo ni mabaya sana. Na hiyo tumejaribu kukataa, hatuna nguvu kwa sababu yeye huwa anatumia things that we don't have in our hands. Kwa sababu mtu akiwa na bunduki na wewe uko na maji na simu, how can you defeat such a person? Ikiwa ni mtu anakuja amejifunga uso na kitambaa, gari hazina numbers, hao ni watu wa aina gani? Those are vehicles that would have been arrested by the government, ushirika wa forces ya Kenya, kwa sababu ni majambazi. We don't know whether they are coming from other countries to come and hijack our people and take them to their country. Those are people who ought to be arrested as soon as possible, immediately. Ebu jaribu, Captain, kupeleka gari yako, kuendesha gari yako Nairobi ama any other town with no number plate. You'll be arrested immediately. Why are these people escaping and serikali haiwezi kujua hawa watu ni wakina nani? Why have they not arrested even one? So this is something that is confirmed. The government knows everything and they are the controller of these people. They have given them a mandate to do what they are doing to the Kenyans. There is no way mtu anaweza sema ati sijui mambo kama hiyo na hakuna effort yoyote they are making to get rid of these people who have really terrorized the Kenyans, the whole country. Na kwa hivyo saa ile mtu anasimama, leader, kiongozi yeyote ambaye anasimama na kuanza kusema yeye hayuko hapo, yeye hajui mambo kama hiyo, where were you? And why should you even be in that office if you cannot be able to defend your citizen? Citizens elected you. If you were elected, I didn't elect you, to service them and defend them from any evil doer. But what we see, the evil doer is within us. Na hawezi kushikwa kwa sababu ako na cheo, ako na nguvu, na ako mikononi mwa serikali ambayo ndio ingekuwa nafuu kwetu. Lakini sisi wa Kenya tumebaki bila defender. And that is how it is. So for them, they cannot convince any Kenyan ati hawajui hii mambo vile inaendelea. Na hiyo ni mambo iko na uchungu sana, honestly, my people. Because we are losing people every day. And they are not people who have gone to steal. Ama wameua mtu sasa wakauawa. They are being killed just because they want to say something that will question this government. Na kwa hivyo kwa sababu wanaona hii serikali hawafanyi mazuri, wakatengeneza hicho kikundi ndio kiendelee kuangamiza wana Kenya. So when somebody stands there and start telling people fake news and whatever, he should first clean his house and let us know what is happening in our country, because they have the intelligence. Sisi tuko kivyetu. Mimi nikiwa nyumbani siwezi kujua what is going on, but they have the intelligence. Hizi magari ni za nani? Huyu mama ambaye anazurura Kenya ni nini anatafuta? In fact, I would say hana rangi yetu, na hao watu wanatuchukia in a way that they see us like dormant. Na mimi naweza sema hiyo kitu ambacho wanatafuta sikielewi kwa sababu saa hii hatujakuwa weupe, we are still black. And I'm not afraid to say that. And I'm proud to be black. Lakini sisi weusi tuache kulala chini tukiona mtu mweupe ambaye anataka kutuangamiza. We need to question. Stand on your grounds. Ask questions. What are you doing and what is your motive doing what you are doing? What is your motive? We have, yes, welcomed you in our country, but respect what we respect. Tupe wakati wetu na uache nchi yetu. Sisi hatuwezi kuchange kwa mila zao. Sisi tuko na mila zetu na hizo ndizo tunataka kutumia until we get tired of it, and we are never tired about it. So Bernard, for me, those are the points I wanted to put. Lakini wa Kenya, msilale. In fact, I see things are working. We should not let it fall. We should not let anything go out of our way. We should not even relax. Let's fight for our country until we get to the end. Hii inchi ni yetu na inchi yao ni yao, na hakuna hata siku moja tutaenda kuwatolea amri ama kuwaonyesha this is what you do. Tutaonekana wajinga, na tunaonekana wajinga kwa sababu ya viongozi wale tuko nao, na sisi si wajinga. We know things and we can keep ourselves up. Asante Bernard, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Mama Mary. We appreciate that. Kenyans have a lot to do in terms of redefining leadership and securing the future of this country. I have always said here that the mistake of 2022 must not be allowed to repeat itself. And for that not to repeat itself, everybody must take responsibility. Quickly ni tuone vile tumepiga kura alafu turejee tukiendelea na masaa ndio haya yanaendelea kukatika. Is 18 minutes after 2 a.m. East African time. Walimu wa usiku kama muko basi mwanze kuchezea karibu, kama hampo pia mseme ili tuone vile kutakwenda. But quickly too, let me give you the outcome of our opinion poll so far. On the poll question, we asked you, do you believe Ruto's claim on fake news and propaganda affecting his relationship with Kenyans? 21% say yes. Of the 193 people have cast their vote on Sound Candy Talk Live, and 21% say yes, 79% say no, they don't believe. And my God, of the 193 people who cast their vote, only 33 have given the video a thumbs up. Yani nakuambia hiyo percentage iko low. Sijui nitatumia dawa gani. All the same, let's check on the main channel how we have voted so far on the same question. Here we go. 151 people have responded to the poll question. And here is the verdict. Do you believe Ruto's claims on fake news and propaganda affecting his relationship with Kenyans? The percentage is almost the same. 23% say yes, it is affecting, and 77% say no. So we have a sizable number of people here who believe that Ruto is where he is because of fake news. And thinking about it again, it may be true in the sense that he's also the propagator of fake news. So the fake news that is affecting him is not just the one Kenyans are doing, also the one he does, and Kenyans discover that it was fake. Yes, Captain, ulikuwa umeinua mkono ni...
Yeah, niliinua mkono. First of all, according to the person, the demise you have put on the screen, I've raised something. I don't know if you have seen. You must have seen anyway. I don't know.
No problem. I'll see that because I'm using the phone for the TikTok. So
So you know my nickname. Leave alone Captain and all whatever.
Suko na WhatsApp yangu? hiyo namba
The same
yangu
number.
ndio hiyo ya WhatsApp.
The
So
same number.
tuwasiliane. Yes, same number.
Okay, we'll talk on WhatsApp. I was trying to check on what Mary Wainaina was saying that about religion. And my question to Mary Wainaina is that why is it that Christianity, we have a lot of doctrines like tuko na AIC, tuko na PCA, tuko na sijui gani, hizo zote. Natoa tu mfano. Lakini tukikuja kwa upande wa Waislamu, hata msikiti pale Busia na msikiti Mombasa ni ile ile. Haina jina ingine. Kuna tofauti gani kwa sisi wa Kristo na wale Waislamu? Mbona hii upande wa tunatumia kanisa kumanipulate wa Kenya in a way that tunataka kura, lakini hatutumii kwa upande wa Uislamu kuchukua kura.
Hiyo nitaachia Bernard.
Captain, ukianza hivyo yani wewe hujaona SUPKEM ikisema ina support nani? Wacha kutuingilia.
No, I mean because of churches.
Okay, naelewa
kanisa mingi sana.
Ngoja. Nakwambia ni vile tu tuseme makanisa vile umesema ni nyingi na ni tofauti, alafu pia iko notorious katika kushikana na wanasiasa. Msikitini kuna siasa yake, lakini hao wanacheza wisely kwa kwanza tuseme, I think kuna proper hierarchy that is well set in the Muslim faith, where there are specific key people that address them, and when those key people give direction, the rest will follow without much problem. But in the Christian circles, our hierarchy, like in Kenya, has been broken, okay? Especially in the Pentecostal churches. Now, you know that we have the Catholics, we have the Presbyterians, we have the other one, Independent, and then AIC. Those we call the mainstream churches. Then we have now the Pentecostals, the Kina Redeemed, Deliverance, and all that. So in this Redeemed, Deliverance, all that, hiyo ina hierarchy kwa sababu haikutoka kwa baba mmoja, in the sense that religious organization, each of those denomination has its own leader, and those leaders still don't see eye to eye. So hakuna mtu anaweza kusubmit kwa mwingine, so huko kuna confusion. But the aspect of why the church is used for manipulation is just the usual. Hata wa nini, unakumbuka story ya Kenyatta alisema mzungu alikuja na Biblia akasema tufunge macho tuombe. Yeye anachukua mashamba, sisi tumefunga macho tunaomba. So kutumia dini kukandamiza watu sio kitu kilianza na Ruto. Okay? Kimekuwa na sisi tangu siku za ukoloni. Na kuna mambo mengi mazuri tulipokea kupitia dini, na pia maovu mengi tu tumeyaruhusu katika miongoni mwetu kupitia pia nini? Dini. Ndiposa kutumia hekima kunahitajika. Kwangu mimi nitasema tu ni makosa kutumia dini kukandamiza watu, iwe ya Kiislamu, iwe ya Kikristo, iwe Pentecostal, iwe mainstream. Any person using religion to manipulate people is on the wrong, and that is why the constitution should be supreme. Unaona hii sasa wanasema wanataka kuanzisha commission of religion. Hiyo itakuwa shida ingine kubwa tunajitengenezea wenyewe. Kila dini ikuwe chini tu ya katiba moja. Tukitengeneza commission of religion, huku kutakuwa na Waislamu wanasema sheria zetu okay, zitumike. Wakristo wanasema sisi sio Waislamu, hatuwezi tii sheria zenu. So it will be a commission of confusion. Let everybody be subject to the same law. Ili Mackenzie akiua watu Shakahola akamatwe kwa kuvunja sheria ya Kenya, si ataitwe kando azungumziwe na wazee wa kanisa. Kwa nini? Ile sheria amevunja ni ya Kenya, si kuua mtu ni kuvunja sheria ya Kenya. Kufundisha watu kutokwenda shule ni kuvunja sheria ya Kenya. Kuzuia watu kwenda kwa daktari wakiwa wagonjwa ni kuvunja sheria ya Kenya. So hakuna sheria nyingine tunahitaji kurekebisha makosa iliyoko katikati yetu, iwe kwa dini ama iwe kwa jamii. We have enough laws to address that. The reason we are not addressing is because we are pretenders and we want to look for excuse to allow evil to thrive. Kwangu mimi, even if I'm president, I will not need any change of law in this country to govern this country. Any Christian, Kanyari ikianza there is obtaining money through false pretense. Hiyo include hiyo. Okay? Sasa huyu mtu amechukua pesa ya watu through false what? Pretense. Mmeona hivi. Alafu mnasema hatuwezi kumshika kwa sababu washirika waja complain. Now look at that. Tumeona kipanga maovu, akia coach watu wapige simu, watu wadanganye, watu watume hela, alafu polisi wanasema hatuwezi mshika kwa sababu wale walituma hela wajakuja complain. It means we allow evil to thrive. So it is just a matter of us accepting what kind of country we want, what kind of society we want. But preferring Christianity to Muslim or Islam to Christianity, that is starting a war we will never finish. By the way, Islam is over 500 years younger than Christianity. So
Bernard, okay, I know the war is it has no end. It cannot finish. But I don't see the reason why we should have only Muslims they are putting on the council and the women they are putting on the buibui, while some of us in the other side of the religion, you know what I mean. I'm free even to put on a miniskirt, or even I put on a trouser. But also when it comes to politics, we choose where to go to church. Because when I see the president, the number of churches that he can go in a month, and the number of the Muslim mosques that he can go in a month, it cannot even be counted. You can even go to one mosque for the whole year. That is when they have a function like this one for going to Mega or whatever. And the president now is dressed with that council and the kofia ile ya Islam. But for us now, each and every Sunday, we are in every church manipulating Kenyans using politics, manipulating Kenyans that hapo ndalete barabara, hapo ndalete stima, sijui kuna kanisa ilikuwa wapi haikujengwa. You see? But we are not talking of even building a mosque. You see that our religious leaders or our leaders in Kenya, politician leaders, they are using that advantage whereby Kenyans maybe they don't know the difference between the doctrines and the politics or what. That's a topic on another day. We'll discuss on that. Then I talk to you.
Yeah, probably when we get time we may address that. But also realize that the Muslim fellowship is on Friday and Christians meet on Sunday. And so Friday is a working day. Okay, so the coverage of Friday is.
Bernard, you see, you are forgetting the SDA. SDA.
Of course, that is Saturday. Also, that's a minority. A majority of Christians go to church on Sunday. Now let me address something here. PGR, please, I want you to tone down. Okay, your capital letters. Number one. Number two, I told you the best way for you to be a Christian and win people to Christ is not to badmouth their religion. You don't go to the market to sell a product by telling other people how bad their products are. You just tell them how good your product is. So please, this is not a platform for advocating for religion or advocating for wars between different belief systems. I am a believer in Christ Jesus. I'm a pastor, I'm a preacher, but I don't impose it on anybody. I respect the Muslims, I respect the Hindus, I respect the Nimsambwa, I respect the people who don't believe in God. There was a time I did a show here with an atheist, okay? We were asking him questions. So if you look down on people or disregard people, tell them that they are going to hell, that is not how to preach. So just stop it. Stop it. That's not what should be done. Win people to Christ by good conduct, respecting them, and then doing what? Let them see your good conduct. Say, let your light shine before men, that they may glorify your Father which is in heaven. You conduct yourself in such a way that people will want to look like you. And you tell them the reason why I do what I do is because of Christ who lives in me. And they will want that Christ. But if you tell them that Catholics, Muslims, Hindus are all going to hell, they are surprises, okay? They are surprises. And some of those surprises are, you may find people in heaven who you expected they were in hell, and you will find people in hell who you expected to be in heaven. So, tuachie tu hapo tafadhali. Tuachie tu hapo. Let's respect each other. This is a general platform. It's for all the public, and let everybody enjoy the space. If you want to reach them for Jesus, pick one person at a time and reach them, or we can give you a show here to preach.
But also,
come
Bernard,
on that special show and preach. Lakini usitumie platform.
Bernard, also this guy BGR,
religion.
The BGR guy is also good for him to come to the platform the way you are live now, raise his own issues or give the answers, because it's like he's criticizing some of us on what you are talking about. Maybe he has other answers, but it's better for you to come live like this, explain to the people of Kenya, explain to the people of the world who are maybe Muslims or Christians or whatever, they will understand you. But coming into the comment section and complaining or giving or raising other issues that are not necessary, I think for me, I cannot go for that. Even me, when I need my issue to be addressed, I bring in myself here, najitetea hapa, napeana issues yangu. So BGR, please come in with the section, help us also to explain to some of us, kwa sababu hata kuna mamangu mwenye ajui kusoma ile vitu unaandika, anataka tu kusikia sauti vile unaongea. Kuja ongea na sisi hapa, wacha kuandika. Kuja ongea.
It's okay. Let's do this, Captain. Let's do this, Captain. PGR, yes. I respect you. We have had a very good interaction, but when you begin to go the direction you're going, you are putting me in a very awkward position. I am here to facilitate a discussion, okay? Not to attack anybody. You are free to believe. I understand. In fact, I know where your problem is, okay? But I cannot address it here, number one. Number two, it is how you vile umelelewa, okay? So it can't just go like that. So I understand you very well. But on a public place, you don't turn it into your house. Nilikuambia hapa jana kwamba Mungu, kuna vile Mungu anadili na kanisa kwa sababu ni familia yake, na ikifika kwa inji mzima, kuna vile anadili na inji mzima. Hawezi kudili na inji mzima kama kanisa. Just like you, in your own house, unapanga vitu vile unataka, unapanga watoto vile unataka, lakini huwezi kupanga majirani yako vile unataka. Why? That's a different jurisdiction. So you should understand that your personal faith cannot be imposed on anybody. It can only result into bondage if it is done. You can only help people when you win them over, not by imposing on them. And threatening them with hell, siku hizi hao watu hawaogopi kuzimu, hata wanataka kwenda huko kuliko mbinguni. So mimi nimehubiri miaka mingi, naelewa. Wezi watisha na kuzimu, watakwambia hata wanapenda kwenda huko. So cha muhimu hapa
ambia huku
tuwaeleze
tumezoea
polepole tuwaeleze polepole watapatikana. Otherwise, let's do this. Let's focus and get back in the conversation. Reverend Lal, I don't know what's wrong with your gadget. Please fix it and come in. And my time is running out. So kama walimu wa usiku hawaji, mimi nitaanza kufungasha. We Pukulu, sijui kama bado upo?
Niko.
Yeah, sema mawili matatu tukisonga.
Okay. The first thing labda naweza kusema, I think it's an emotive time for a lot of Kenyans. But I remember there was a politician that I really like. His name is Keter, one of the guys who was abducted one time. He said, "Usieke siasa kwa roho." I mean, we are suffering. Kenyans are suffering because of politics, but
Sio Keter ni Mandako.
ni Mandako alisema. I thought it was Keter. But anyway, what I wanted to say, first of all, let me thank Mary for the kind words. And then I wanted to say, you see, any good politician knows that the biggest secret of politics, especially during campaigns, anywhere in the world, any good politician, they will try and preach hope. They'll twist the word upside down, whichever way, but it's always hope. I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do that. And they'll build castles. Earlier I'd said, campaign ni kama courtship, courting your future spouse. You know, it's usually a bed of roses until the actual marriage happens. But see, Ruto's end game is to keep Kenya in bondage through poverty. That is the only way then you keep electing them. It's a cycle that politicians do quite a lot. Now, I was raised in a very strict Christian background, and one of the people that my parents absolutely could not stand was Karl Marx, until I went to university. And one of his most famous quotes on religion was that religion is the opiate of the masses, where they have the haves, who are the rich or the political class, they keep the have-nots in bondage. And then use religion, tell them, no, there will be a better day. Don't worry. It will be okay. So, but when it comes to how we can change Kenya, quite honestly, is to emulate the Gen Zs. These guys were just Kenyans. They say they're tribeless, leaderless. I beg to add, they were religious-less. They were just Kenyans who were tired of what was happening to them. I think that would be my suggestion, to be one of the best solutions, to be like, take that attitude, because some of us were born in the Kenyatta days, Jomo Kenyatta, and you could not talk against the government. Moi, I don't remember Kenyatta days because I was young, but Moi days were deadly. But if we can just emulate the Gen Zs to some extent, because one of the things I learned about the Gen Zs, which I never knew, other than Kibaki's education, is that they are well versed in civics, the importance of civics. If we can spread out throughout Kenya, I bet you money, even if Ruto stays on to 27, Gen Zs will vote. I don't think this time they'll be fooled by money or what happens during campaigns. I'll give you this, I'll give you that. So if we can just emulate the Gen Zs, we can make Kenya a better country. But I believe that's basically what my points were. I appreciate the time.
Okay, thank you, Weproof, on that. We are in this together, and I always say that we must, when we introduce something to anyone, we should always give time for them to learn. I think the country has learned the hard way, unfortunately, but now I don't think any Kenya is going to play around with leadership, especially national leadership, if the ballot is going to be anything to go by. We are not where we were in 2022, and hata kwa mlima hautasikia hiyo tutaamka mapema anymore. Kwa nini? The lesson has been very hard and very, very precise, to the point that joke with leadership, lose everything. And so I'm sure that it's not just the Gen Z, even the people get galvanized around tribe and saying mtu wetu. Now they have learned the hard way. Mtu wetu is not working. If you hear the undertones that are going on in Rift Valley, mpaka kwa backyard ya Ruto mwenyewe, it is clear that Kenyans have learned the hard way. Mtu wetu doesn't help. Having a thief is just a thief, whether ni mtu wenu ama sivyo. An incompetent person is just incompetent, no matter how you describe him. Even when you take him to church for prayer, he will continue being incompetent, and he will deliver those incompetent results. And so I'm sure call for an election today, the Kenyans are going to vote differently. And I don't think this government will hold until 2027. It will be a miracle for that to happen. But if that happens, when we get an opportunity to choose leaders, Kenyans, again, I warn, don't let anybody with questionable character be excused for anything when it comes to leadership. Strict adherence to the values of integrity and right standing should not be compromised. Before they go to the ballot paper, mimi nataka hizi kura zishindwe kwa IEBC kabla wananchi wapige kura. Wasipewe nafasi ya kuchagua kati ya mwizi mdogo na mwizi mkubwa. Wezi wote wafungiwe nje ya ballot paper. Tungekuwa tumefungia Ruto na Gachagua nje, we will not be where we are, and they will have done nothing. But because tulicheza mtu wetu, tukasema shenyu na shenyu, hii na hii, in the process we ended up allowing the masses to decide the future of the country without streamlining the choices. We needed to streamline the choices by applying Chapter 6 and ensuring that people with questionable characters don't make it to the ballot paper. And so if Kenyans choose any of them, will still be safe. That's where we went wrong, and that's where we must begin by correcting. And this must be at all levels, from the MCS to the governor, to the senator, to the member of parliament, to every other elective seat. Don't allow anybody with character be on the ballot. If we win it there, we have got it right. But if we allow that majority of the people, can you imagine, like, for example, you want a head boy in school, and you go and tell the students to choose anyone they want, okay? The student will always land on the one who will go easy on them. They will never pick the best person who will provide leadership to the school. That's what we did in 2022. We allowed the whole Kenyan to decide who to be on the ballot, and that was wrong. So Uhuru administration contributed immensely on where we are. IEBC contributed immensely in aiding not only the rigging of the elections, but allowing people with questionable character on the ballot. He's the only man to qualify or disqualify somebody. What did he do? He cleared people who should not have been cleared. And so as we engage, tusijidanganye, hakuna njia nyingine ya kupata viongozi bora kama hatuwezi kuzuia wale ambao hawafai kuingia kwa ballot. Bas, hapo tumepigwa tafrao tayari. Hata mtu akiiba kura lakini anaweza kuongoza. Si Kibaki aliiba kura, uchumi ikaanguka chini, lakini akaisimamisha 2007, 2008. He did something for Kenyans. But huyu kaiba kura anaendelea kufinya Wakenya, anakandamiza Wakenya, anaharibu afya, anaharibu education, anaharibu agriculture, anataka kuharibu mpaka ndoa sasa. So what are we doing? And we are still finding an excuse for him. Apana, let's not do that. Now, let's you put on something. Sheria zetu hapa zitaharibika. YouTube will punish us. Okay, thank you. Now, I want to land. I don't know kama nani. Anaitwa nani? PS, kama hujapata mwalimu Maina ngatuka, it's a few minutes to 3 a.m. I didn't get sufficient time to rest. Na unajua tena leo tuko kotini. Tunaamkia kotini kuangalia maneno ya Gachagua na vile uamuzi unafanywa. I hear he has appealed for finding fault with the Felemona. Now, what I don't understand about Gachagua is that amesema ako na imani kwa judiciary. Tena anaenda kuattack judiciary. Na anataka judiciary imrudishe kwa ofisi. Sasa mimi simuelewi. Either misled na lawyers ama
I don't think Gachagua even wants to work. How would you work under someone who doesn't want you? What he's doing, he's using the judiciary to kick the can down the street, proverbially. Hana haja na hiyo ofisi. This is someone who Gachagua believes wanted to kill him.
He's fighting to save his neck, in the sense that, according to the current state of affairs, when you are impeached from a public office, you are not eligible for public office for at least 10 years.
Yeah, so he wouldn't be able to run into
the fate of Songo. Yes, the fate of Songo, the fate of Waitito. So that's what he's running away from. So he's hoping that the judiciary will overturn what the Senate did. Then as soon as it is overturned, he can now there safely resign and then prepare to run in the next election. But that is also 50-50 because the judiciary is just the way it is. Just the way it is. And especially when he's attacking them, he goes before the bench, he says this bench is biased. This bench is not constitutionally put together. Felemona is not able to put the bench together. In that way, to me, is shooting himself in the foot. I don't know how he's going to play, but kwangu mimi angeenda to direct to fight the war that he has, other than all these side shows. At the time he's buying is the one getting time bad. Because the more he buys time, the more eligible Kindiki becomes, because Kindiki can now be deemed to have resigned. And if he stretches this case for 6 months, then it will be eligible for him to be a public officer, having resigned 6 months. So I don't understand, but let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, some of Kenya's best brains are on it, so we'll see. Actually, I trained in Kamino's office myself.
Oh, mzee.
He's refused to stop practicing. I thought by now he'd be writing books, probably teaching, but he still loves the bench, the bar.
He can't. I think his life is now wrapped up into that. I was telling somebody yesterday that Haminwa is like Mzee Kajwang. When Mzee Kajwang was sacked from KBC, he died. So he had been in KBC for 50 years. So let him just do what he enjoys to do. And you see the way he is reasoning, his coherence, He's even better
Yes.
than some of us. And that means he takes serious what he does. Is not
Yeah.
like the jokers that we have in terms of misrepresentatives of the law, just
Yeah.
in the face of it, other than securing proper whatever judicial guidance based on really raw law, not
Right.
the manipulation that is taking place right now. So you can say something. Somebody's requesting for a link.
No, I'm good. I had finished. Was there someone waiting? I could mute.
Okay, sawa sawa, thank you. Mama Mary, kama una ujumbe basi. Mimi nimeanza kufungasha. Irene, you can come in. Kipindi cha lala salam.
I just wanted to comment about this lady. I'm just not happy or comfortable with her going around in our country, bringing all this and showing us like we are under her, as if she's the one ruling our country. That is my biggest problem in Kenya right now. Because what I see her do and talk, she seems to be very comfortable saying whatever she wants in our country. Na ninashindwa hii nguvu yote anatoa wapi? Na ni kwa nini anapewa hii wakati ya kuwa anatembea tembea everywhere? And especially the stalled IBC, ambayo it's a deliberate thing that they have not installed it. I think there is something cooking and Kenyans ought to be very vigilant with this woman. I don't like her. I'm sorry, because of from the word go. Na ile ya mambo yote inaendelea, we don't know how far she has gone to show us like she can go to offices where Kenyans can't even go. She's an ambassador. She should remain in the embassy. She's not our leader at all. And even she cannot be unless something different can be done. Asante Bernard. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Wepulu.
Sorry, just a quick rejoinder on what Miss Mary has said. See, there was some years back, there was a U.S. ambassador who was literally kicked out of Kenya. I'm trying to remember his name. But he was sort of meddling the same. But the president, I believe it was Moi's time, kicked him out, sent him back, and told Bush to send someone else. U.S. ambassadors do not meddle in Kenya. Kenya is a sovereign state. So for this woman, first of all, to comment on our elections, and so they're sort of in bed with State House. When did you ever hear of Kenyan police being sent somewhere? That never happens. That is why Ruto did that. So there are little games that are being played. You know, if we send people, it's usually military and it's for peacekeeping only. You know, so this whole thing it smells fishy. I don't know exactly what they are into, but if you think about it, State House allowed it. Ambassadors don't just do that. She has express permission to move around. So in essence, we are in America's pocket.
Wow. That is it. And probably the reason she moves around, from the look of things, this is actually their government. And they
Yes.
are very, very concerned that it is failing. And so
Right.
they are doing everything possible to keep it afloat. But no matter how much they are investing into salvaging, the spiraling down seems not to be ending. And so
Yeah.
probably they are having their second thoughts Or they are at IBC so that they set another trap to bring us another idiot to perpetuate their supremacy.
That is the big brother for you. Big brother does that all the time. They do that. You know, someone mentioned Gaddafi. Why did they take him out? And Libya will never be the same. You know, so Big Brother does that. If you don't serve their interest, they don't like you. So they put someone they want. Unfortunately, that's a problem of bad leaders who make us so poor that we have to go begging. Because from what I've heard about Kenyan minerals, we don't need anybody. I also heard I was watching Jimmy Wanjigi. We didn't have to get money for the SGR. And he documented paperwork about it. We did not need money for it. So why did we borrow the Eurobond money and pay this Chinese and that Chinese? These are just games. I don't know how much money can you steal. I'll never understand.
It is sad that we are sold by our own people. And
exactly. Yeah, and it happened during colonial days. They did that. During slavery days, they did that. Our own people sold. There are some tribes in Kenya who are said to have colluded with the colonialist, according to history. So 30 pieces of silver take Kenya.
Bad news, bad news. Well, Maunga, where are you? So let's hold it there. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as we wrap up our show, I can't see Kina PK to continue, so they will come and start their own feed. It's almost 3 a.m. I need to sign out so that I prepare to be able to live stream the court process, Gachagua. And of course, we other news that will be arising on the situation of our country. Where I can see salvation arising from, since the international community wants to arrest and manipulate the headquarters at the central government, our greatest salvation should come from the counties. If we have credible governors who will take their counties serious and propel them towards prosperity, it is difficult to control 47 governors than control one person. And so that's why I was asking Kitui County. Under Ngilu, it had started 3 industries. The one for making leather shoes, the one for making honey, commercial, and then juice. We had Kitui honey everywhere in the supermarket. I don't see it anymore. I don't know whether the new governor canceled that kind of nini. So if we have serious governors who will revamp the counties with the approach of creating jobs by industrialization, who will have the effect of the international interference at the top, will not easily trickle down and cause the mess. Counties have they have a right to make laws, the bylaws that govern that county. And those bylaws can be used to help the situation. So what I don't appreciate with our governors is that they want to do uniform. And that seems to be our Kenyan way of going about life. Okay? Or unaona, the moment I begin to sell potatoes out here, okay, you will see another person open another potato thing next to mine. Then another potato. We copy from one another other than to complement. Since I'm selling potato, why can't you sell maize? Okay, so that we combine the maize and potato and we make mokimo. We will all have customers, okay, and we won't be competing and specializing in potato, you specialize in maize, another one in beans, and we are on the same market. So when a customer comes, everybody eats something. But if we are all selling potatoes, this customer comes and he can only buy from one. So what happens? We need to quarrel over the same. So as counties, we need not to do uniform things. The reason for counties so that the counties can address their issues independently and uniquely. So which county is low on education? They should invest more in education. Which one is low in job creation? They should invest in job creation. Those that are low in infrastructure, they should invest in infrastructure. Note that our budget is like this. Everybody has the same amount for the roads, the same amount for education, the same amount for healthcare. You look at the whole thing and it looks pathetic because it beats the purpose for the existence of those counties in the first place. Like Marsabit, the number one need for Marsabit is water. Okay, next need for Marsabit is hospital, healthcare. Okay, so the first thing to do as a governor in Marsabit is boreholes. And to get companies to come and drill boreholes, there are even those who are volunteering to do that for free.
Yeah, boreholes, water irrigation.
Why should we have Marsabit as a county for 10 years and they are still complaining about the same thing? Lack of water.
And they know exactly what their weather patterns are. There's nothing emergent about that. They've lived through it. You know, it doesn't make sense. Like me, I don't know how Ken Lusaka went back to being a governor. I will never understand. I don't know if it's money. I'll never understand how Ken Lusaka went back to being governor of my county.
I believe he was rigged in.
Yeah.
He was rigged in, and it was a revenge mission by Papa Aroma against Wangamati. So I was in Kimilili just before the elections, and I was interviewing the people on the street, and Lusaka had very few supporters, just his family and his Kijiji. But the rest of the county was with Wangamati. But the fury rose up with the DAP, okay, where a war between Eugene and wherever Weta is what brought about the revenge mission of ensuring that everybody who is not for the Kenya is rigged out, especially in Bungoma. And then, of course, Nani was very strong in Trans Nzoia.
Natembeya. That is my guy. That is a man, if I was from Trans Nzoia, I would come to Kenya to vote. I like George Natembeya. He's an astute administrator. You know. Well,
so coming elections, we must be careful so that nobody decides for us leadership.
Yeah.
Because that's our making. These planted leaders are the ones who serve the whole term, supplying money to their godfathers instead of serving the public.
Yeah, services. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
The one thing should stop is fear. I mean, I know he's using bullets and abductions, but then what will be the difference between now and the Moi era where you could not mention the word Moi before you disappear? You know, but the biggest thing I believe is just civic education. Civic education. That is That's probably the one thing I like about Morara Kebaso. You know, he's trying to do it. I heard about another guy, I think his name of Opondo. He's also doing the same. Yeah, so that will help. Because what Mashinani, not everybody attends social media fora and, you know, to understand. So
that's true, and that's why we need to fund that to go on a larger scale.
Right.
But on the other hand, in my opinion, we should not. Nobody should underestimate the understanding of Kenyans.
Right.
Especially the elderly. From my interaction, okay, I'm from the church world, but when you interact with the Kenyans right now, majority of them,
yeah,
they are regretting, and some of them don't believe how Ruto ended up being president. In fact, nobody wanted Ruto, including those who voted for him. They just voted for him, but they knew he's not going to make it. So
right.
how he made it is still a mystery to many. And so everyone is treading cautiously. So civic education to me should be more targeted to the younger generations other than the older generations. Because we have a generation here that has no much grounding, one in our history, and two, the dynamics of our interrelating as different communities. And so the civic education needs to be more in those institutions, especially institutions of high learning, and maybe on high school level, and even at primary level. If we invest in that, it will be more fruitful and longer lasting than us going to teach the elders. And you know, elders already know. Just a moment, Mama Mary has something to say.
Okay.
Thank you, Bernard. I just want to add something on whatever we are discussing. As we go on talking, in fact, it becomes so sorrowful when I think of how our people are disappearing, killed, tortured on behalf of people who are coming from a different country. It's so sad and very devastating when you think how many children we have lost, and they died because the person on the chair is doing the wrong thing to us just because he is serving his masters. He's not even serving the country. We lost guys from young youth from university. I remember Denzel. I remember that boy when he was so charming after he had accomplished getting into the parliament. Their parliament, Kenyan parliament. Mtoto anashutiwa. Rex alishutiwa tu kwa barabara. These guys, they died with nothing. They died with nothing in their hands. They didn't have a stone. But why are they dying? That is the biggest question that I ask myself, and that the pain that I feel. Why are they dying? Why are these children being killed? Why our Kenya are being tortured to serve somebody, to serve on behalf of somebody who does not belong in that country? Somebody who have nothing to do with Kenya, and we have nothing to do in their country. We don't interfere with them, but we are being tortured, killed, just because somebody somewhere is being served. That's the pain I have. Sometimes, yes, I get carried away with the pain and sadness. Bernard, it's not my wish that I was born a Kenyan. My country I love very much. My Kenyans that I miss to live together, they are being killed on behalf of somebody who does not have, who has everything. Akona mali, akona inchi, akona maisha, lakini wanaamua watoto wetu wauawe kwa sababu yao. It's so sad. tukiongea hii mambo tunaongeaga hapa Bernard, seriously, it goes in people's mind. You just think buildings are still standing there, but we have lost our children, very intelligent children. They are gone just because a person who is roaming in our country where he does or she does not belong. She does not belong there, but she feel very happy. Why should she be smiling when she knows people are perishing, people are being abducted, people are being killed for no reason? They have not they have not committed any crime. Feel they have strength to do whatever they are doing. Anyway, God is great. I feel bad. Sometimes I'm carried away and I feel very much offended. Thank you, Bernard.
It's okay, mommy. It's okay, mommy. Everything done against innocent people will be paid. They may have their day today, but our own day is coming. And those who sit to plan evil against people, especially the common good of many, will not go unpunished. So let's put our faith in the God who alone can repay. Quick question here before Maunga comes in. Pick Road anasema, honest question, why civic education now and not Uhuru time? Explain to me. Bwana Pick Road, you understand?
Bernard, do not qualify that with a response, please. It will be demeaning the talk.
What I wanted to say is that if there was no civic education during Uhuru's time, then it was a mistake. That's why we are where we are. And that's why we are doing it now, so that we can't repeat that mistake. Take it.
Hi, everyone on the comment. Yeah, Bernard, you know, like the truth is, do not allow for people to think that they're here for entertainment purposes. And, you know, if they can come, if they want to come and display how stupid they are, they can always come to the studio and we deal with them at that level. But otherwise, hiding behind the keyboard on maybe borrowed Wi-Fi and then asking people nonsense is not anything. You already rightly said a little earlier that we are where we are today because of the Uhuru. The problem began as an Uhuru administration problem. So right from 2013, we did not have this kind of platforms. But even then, we indicated why Uhuru and Ruto ought not have come in. But people let them come in anyway. So their sympathizers can go and sympathizers of either of the two can go and hang their heads wherever it is that they think it should. But I've had a lot of things today, and I wanted to react to quite a number. But when we're talking about Mama Skat wenu huyo wa embassy, mbona sijaona Wakenya wakiandamana huko kwao, wenye mko huko, mbona mjenda huko kwa hizo embassy zao kwenda kwenda complain huko? Bernard, just have a conversation. Let me just quickly respond to something, then I'm getting back.
Okay, so interesting question indeed. We hope, Lala, if you are anywhere, njoo ulikuja ukatupwa nje. We would want to hear your response on the same. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we are winding up, please don't relent. Share the video, piga kura yako, and then those supporting us to go to Yala for the funeral and back, please let's keep at it. We need to travel like 3 of us to be able to have set up, get reliable internet, and succeed to live stream that program and then get back. So all our supporters use the details available and make your contribution. On the other hand, we should not relent in supporting the channel. You support the channel either by becoming a member or using YouTube, where you have a standing order subscription. I encourage level 2 or level 3, where you make a contribution of at least $5 or $10 per month to keep the channel running. You see, we are not, we have a very good response, but our subscription doesn't grow very fast because we refuse to be sensational, and we don't want to give people an image of what we are not. So we love everything clear to the point and people to understand. And so our growth is not that fast. We are yet to hit the 10,000 subscribers level. That means we can't sustain ourselves without your support. So kila mtu ajitolee kwa kuendelea kutusupport na tutakuwa hapa, we promise, by God's grace, to ensure that we are part of the making of the history of this country. If Maunga, you're ready, please.
Yeah, yeah. So as I was saying, I hear a lot of people still, as always, blaming the Kenyans for not doing enough in this soil where this guy is trigger happy and he has, including those animals that he brings over to kill us and everything. Of course, he's speaking about fake news, and Ben, as you alluded actually earlier, the fake news might actually be as a result of the things that he lies to us about every time. Because I mean, yes, he never says anything that's true, so his is similarly fake news. So that can be responsible for why Kenyans don't like him. So it's very likely. So when I see the poll questions by there, I was also not very clear on how you should respond to that. But I think there ought to have been another part of that question, just so that you can get perspective of instead of a yes or no. So the other thing, I had Behulu talk about not ever coming to Kenya for as long as this guy is on the seat. Let me tell Kenyans, for the avoidance of any doubt, it's that the truth is, it's a good thing that captain has left. You can usually tell that he's so lukewarm. Yani, he's the kind that God would puke any day. He's neither hot or cold, telling us about, now we just have to let him have his 5 years. Let him have his 5 years as which kind of rats? He will go before 5 years. Na hakuna kitu mtafanya. I'm sure they're very disappointed. By the way, I think I would be too, yeah? Hey, and the other thing, as I've told you, I have so many things to talk about. I have never been more proud of being a Luo, Bernard. For the first time, Luos have displayed that they are good human beings. During this Gachagua thing, during this time that Gachagua has been vilified, Luos, both from Uko Chini all the way traversing class and everything else, except for the political class, Luos have held on to what is fair and what is just. They have not defended or fought for the Gachagua because of who Gachagua is, but just because it is just not right. The process is not right and it is not just. And Luos have held on. By their kudos to my people, it has actually made me very, very proud. So it is true, as we've always said, that even if Raila was to be the president, if he went against Kenyans and what Kenyans expected from him, it would be the Luos who would have risen first to go against him. So kudos to them. Back to what Webs was saying. Webs will not call that whole name. It will make me sound like an Izoa here. Much as I school, it will, like to take my lawyer side to another level.
Webs most people call me Webs anyway.
Yeah, the truth is, when you are denied an opportunity to be with your family, to see a country you love, because of one individual who you will one day wake up and get breaking news that he died and he's on the slab. And the most unfortunate thing is that you will be so far and you will not even have a chance to wear your Luya regalia and go and teruburu in a way that the Luyas do, like some of us would. So since some of us are going to be in Kenya, and I know God is going to give me life, I tell you guys, I'm going to give you classic teruburu, including even doing a bit of a strip just to make Kenya proud of the fact that, some of us bore children and we are proud of this land. Like the worst thing that ever came out of a woman's body has finally been laid to oblivion. So now, do not allow for a mortal to make you lose so much because he fraudulently acquired something that he ought not. As for Bernard talking about people not understanding how Ruto came into being, Bernard, wewe ule Mungu unaomba na muamini. That is how I took the clergy. That was my only sieve for clergy, by the way. This far, you don't even need to tell me who's true and who's not. I just have to go back to who supported Ruto and who was against him, on the principle of a discerning spirit that God gives everybody. capacity you do. Wameanza
Yes,
kucheza na network yangu.
you're back. Go on. Sorry.
Wameanza kucheza na network yangu Bernard, just in case I should go, unless you see my face, do not admit. Even ndio anafanyanga alafu analeta pornography against my name. Wajinga sana. Anyway, I know I sound like a man, but they should know I'm female. Yeah, one day I might display it. Moving on swiftly. So now, do not allow webs. Kujeni Kenya mujienjoy. Yani scatter na move around into your offices because you guys are busy building their nation and making them think that there's anything to love about our people being exiled just for her to come and enjoy the privileges of being an Iniapa, an expatriate hapa kwetu. Do not. Come and enjoy your country when you can. We do not even know the currency of time that we have left. Why should it be that it should be imposed on us? That now some demons should come and now make our country so terrible that our own countrymen cannot come and enjoy and see their family members and enjoy and build their country just because these guys are here and they're trying to impose poverty on us and making Kenya unbearable for us. So we can go and they get to treat us like slaves wherever it is that they call their country. So Kenyans ought not to do that. Do not allow yourselves to be exiled by these mortals. They'll eventually go, and of course we all pray that they do, and God has since confirmed to us. Whoever thought, Bernard, 2.5 years ago, we sat in this place so helplessly, trying to scream our voices hoarse, reminding people, insulting anyone who said anything contrary and everything like that, and giving them facts in between, telling them exactly what this man was going to bring to Kenya. They did not hear. Did we ever think we would find a desperate Ruto yenye akona kichwa imeisha nywele imebondeka inakaa njugu? Did we ever think that was possible? So for God to have made that possible, trust me. Back to my point on churches. Nimekwambia niko na vitu mob za kusema mpaka nazichanganya. Now, Ruto being in this country was a design. Tulikuwa tumeambiwa, the prophecy we were given on Ruto becoming, if at all, Ruto is not God's choice for Kenya, but should it be allowed that he becomes, atakuwa wa hukumu. So Kenya tulikuwa tumefika Mungu bahali. So vile tulikuwa tumefikisha Mungu mahali, lazima angetu fundisha adabu kidogo. You know, when right now Kikuyus are being profiled, because that is the truth. When you even see how the post-election was happening and even post-Gen Z was happening, it was Kikuyus being profiled. When that guy was talking about being in the same jail cell with 99% of Kikuyus in it, I believe him fully and totally. That's because they're being targeted. Now, when the Luos were being targeted, I was supposed to be scared for my other babies. When Kikuyus are being targeted, I'm still supposed to be scared for my son. Does anyone ever understand what it means for some of us who have mixed tribes children? Do people really understand why we fight for Kenya, just for Kenya? And everything else aside, principle and everything else aside. Now when I have to cry about the product of my womb, I've got to cry to the extent that whichever way it goes, it hurts me. Do Kenyans really look at themselves and critically see that 95% of the Gen Zs who were out there were not even from one tribe? And that is why they are so tribeless. They wouldn't know where to fall. So whenever we are speaking about Kenya, we are speaking about something pertinent. As for positive ethnicity, it is something that I advocate for fully. Because at no time should it ever be. You know, the problem is I sometimes get vulgar and Bernard is clergy and anaweza kumembarrass kwa Mungu, alafu kuna labda some children are listening to this show, and I mean YouTube rules and everything. But truth is, when we come off clothes, we all have the same organs of kukojoa, and that is where we find pleasure, and that is where we find children. So at what point do you tell me that any of them is supposed to speak tribe? Well, some people say that it is more entertaining sometimes when you say certain things in vernacular, but that is as far as it goes. When eventually you give birth to children who can't even speak that local language, your dialect in the first place, what difference does it make? When diversity then makes them have the right culture to translate into a better human being because they have different genes and different cultures inculcated in one person, and as such they're presenting to the world that diversity that now therefore becomes their strength. What do we then call that? Now someone should come and cheat me. Someone that it's actually just as Jakindube always alludes. It was a colonial thing that we carried forth, but the fools that we are, we keep maintaining it. We keep maintaining it and sustaining it. So now, when the clergy are saying anything, or when you're wanauliza, they don't know how he became. Bado hao Bernard, by the way, mujaribu kuangalia ni Mungu gani wanaabudu. Because Mungu ule Jehovah Jireh actually confirmed to us that we know if at all we are born of him, we should be able to identify, and we have the Holy Spirit for a reason. A discerning spirit is given to someone who is especially serving at the level they are serving. And for that reason, where Bernard na wachache sana wenye wako. So right now it should be very easy, even if you're talking about those commissions, and the commissions are being formed by those clergy wenye wako na horns. Now when wameuza roho zao kwa Illuminati and everything else, the ones who are, have you seen the rate of killings that is going on in this country, for crying out loud? Ruto yenu akisema hajaona mtu akikufa, what business does he have being a president right now if he cannot take responsibility over the lives of Kenyans who are now in danger? Saizi tuko na death as in it's the most common thing right now. When a woman is killed, the other day that MCA's daughter was killed, and suddenly it was that, oh, she got into a sex and drugs ring. You wonder why it was illegal, why she deserved to die as a result of that. And they actually think that if they inject that, people should literally throw it off the window. Oh, mara msichana mdogo akikufa unasikia yeye ni slay queen, and the world keeps quiet. So kukua slay queen inamini hakuzaliwa na mtu ama hakulelewa na mtu akuwe binadamu. When a man has been killed and made a guy of integrity, when somebody's son has been tied up like a goat and sliced up, it is now being said, and it is thrown as propaganda, that it was a deal gone bad. Therefore, we should justify that, and it is okay. Guys, we truly, literally are something else, and we're buying it. And I'm hoping that silently, as Morara Kebaso is where he is, I'm actually hoping that that boy has decided to take account of everything that happened in that video footage, and those guys are going to be prosecuted in a court of law, and they will be jailed, or they will be fined heavily in a way that they'll know that Gunism has no place in Kenya. That Kenya is a country governed by law. I'm just hoping that everything will be rewound in this country to the extent that wajinga wa kutuambia juu ya uhuru, tukianza kuambia hapa about mambo ya uhuru na Kibaki, hata huo Kenyatta wao huo Jomo hata tuletea. By the way, if we start talking about the ills that some communities have done to us, amtaongea hapa, na decide that is not something that you're going to focus on. That is why we're not focusing on Gachagua. We're focusing on, because at the end of the day, all those people you're mentioning are personalities and they're mortals. So once they go, we remain with Kenya. What will be left with Kenya is rule of law systems and structures that then will be able to govern a country. It will not be about individuals. So we are not being selective. We are not omitting anything, but rather we are moving with the speed that is required for a time such as now. There'll be a time where we're going to revisit all the injustices that have happened in this country. And everybody dead or alive, I think we will even take mapingu huko kwa graves zao. Thanks, Bernard. Nitaongea the whole day. I'm telling you, I have content today. Thanks.
Thank you. You need to come early tomorrow. We'll start a bit earlier. Thank you very much. Webukula, I'll give you a half a minute. I'm closing, and I must close now.
Miss Maungo, I have heard you. I've heard you. I've heard your words. I appreciate that. And thank you, Bernard. What time do you usually start?
11:30 East African time.
I don't know what it started. I am 10 hours behind you.
Around 11 the Kenyan time, so you find your time from your end.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
11 your time.
Yeah, 11 our time, so you adjust from your end. Otherwise, thank you for the interaction. Let's
thank you so much.
The struggle. Mama Mary, your last word?
Yes, Bernard, our country should be free. That's all I can say.
Okay, thank you, Mami. And with this is our parting shot for tonight. And let's keep the conversation going. We will get a better Kenya, come what may.
President Traore, who has led the struggle to complete the unfinished business that was started by our ancestors and our Pan-African leaders in 1963, when they created the Organization of African Unity. During that meeting, they demanded the creation of an Africa that spoke with one voice, an Africa that was united. That journey is yet to be finished. What is happening in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, is just the beginning of a revolution that is way past due for Africa. Africa must unite, and Burkina Faso has shown us the way. They have opened the doors. They have shown us that the bully can be defeated. That no more shall we continue to give up our lunch. That we too need to eat. And therefore, there is no negotiating with the bully. The bully had to go, and Burkina Faso showed us how to do it. So, Mr. President, I bring you your children, descendants of the formerly enslaved. They have waited over 400 years to return the spirits of their ancestors back home to Africa. When the children of Africa were taken out of Africa as slaves, all they ever wanted to do was to come back home to Africa. Each and every one of them that you see, many of them are coming to Africa for the first time. They're bringing with them the spirits of their ancestors to put them to rest here in Burkina Faso. And that's mission number one. Mission number two, we have watched you, Mr. President. You stand for everything that we have hoped for in an African man. Courageous, fearless, and in their faces. France, unapologetically, you told France, pack your bags and go home. You, Mr. President, so we are here. Our third mission is to see what can we do, Mr. President, to play our part in building the Burkina Faso we want.
Sound Candy Talk sasa imeboreshwa zaidi. Kila siku ya wiki asubuhi tunapambazuka na maabudu na sifa kwenye kipindi cha Daybreak Worship. Baadaye tunakuletea mahojiano ya moja kwa moja kwenye one-on-one show. Alafu tunakuletea taarifa zinavyochipuka siku hiyo zikiwa ange kwenye In the News Headlines. Kisha tunaingia bungeni. Viongozi tuliowachagua tuangalie wanafanya nini bungeni.
On a daily basis, whenever the house is sitting, the order paper is here.
I take any work that I'm given very seriously.
Not have favors.
It's not appointed because you come from Nyeri.
Kisha baadaye usiku tunakutana kwenye Open Forum Political Show, kipindi kinachotadavua na kufafanua makala na taarifa zinazokuhusu zaidi.
Sasa hii ndiye time ya kuweka kila mtu question mark one by one. Ruto tumeshaweka question mark ya kutosha.
Umeenda mpaka umevuka border, umeanza kudanganya watu wenye wako US na nchi zingine.
Kazi ya kiongozi ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba vijana wako kazi.
Tazama Sound Candy Talk uelemike. Tukutane Sound Candy Talk.